What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of the Reunion of Final Fantasy VII Remake podcast. I am your host, Kairosis, and joining me once again today, I have my incredible co-host, Vyzz. How are you doing, Vyzz?
Hello, everyone, and I'm pretty good because I'm really excited for this podcast. It's going to be a doozy.
Same. I actually can't wait to talk to you about everything about this game and for, our audience to actually be able to hear our thoughts and opinions on everything about this incredible game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
So if you guys don't already know, Vyzz, he is a creator of the Cosmo Canyon Observatory YouTube channel, and he does incredibly detailed analysis videos on pretty much every piece of media that we get about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. So Vyzz, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay, so first off, I try to cover everything, but they usually dish out more than I can handle, so I just try to do my best, because I really go in-depth into everything, which takes a long time to research and process everything and write down and record and produce. But at least I really try to provide extremely detailed analysis videos and discussion videos, which you won't find anywhere else. So that's my service to you. But right now I'm kind of on a hiatus because of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I played it through in about 2 weeks, and I'm still uploading episodes for my playthrough I did. Well, I recorded. I also started to upload focused cut episodes, which are kind of cut down to the most essential parts, like everything that has to do with story, dialogue, and analysis stuff, and some cool things I found or cool things that happen. The full playthrough is on my second channel called Cosmo Canyon Universe. So please subscribe there if you want to get the full dose of the remake. I'm already there in Wall Market. Episode 29 is going up in about half an hour.
Nice.
So that's about it. Also Twitter at @CC_observatory if you haven't been following me yet there.
Yeah, if you guys haven't followed Vyzz yet and the Cosmo Canyon Observatory, you really need to check him out and check out all of his amazing content for this remake. It's incredible, and obviously we appreciate you and having you here on the podcast with us as well, and taking the time out to be here. I understand you know how busy you are, so
yeah.
All right, guys, so I just want to go ahead and shout out to everybody that's listened and subscribed to the podcast so far. We're super appreciative of everybody sticking with us. I know that we haven't really posted an episode in quite some time, and that's partly my fault because I actually just finished the game, I think, last week or something. I'm pretty sure it was last week. And then I needed some time to kind of gather my thoughts about everything that happened in the game and just kind of take a step back and really reflect on the whole experience before, we recorded an episode. And then we pushed it back a little bit because, we're both super busy. And also, like Vyzz has said, like, I have a job as well. I'm working from home, so I couldn't play the game basically nonstop for, weeks and weeks. Like, I got the game early. I got the first class edition early, and I did start playing before a lot of people, which is kind of like, what's my excuse, right? Like, why didn't I finish the game? Well, I actually played it as much as I could, and I played it during the evenings because where I'm working on the computer from home during the day. And then I also, sometimes I needed to take a break, and some days I actually didn't play at all because I just needed to take a break from it and also think about and interpret like everything that I experienced basically, and then come back with kind of like a clear head. And so I did finish the game, so super excited to share all of my thoughts with you and Vyzz as well. So all right, guys, so for today, we are going to be having an in-depth spoiler discussion about the various elements of the game. So what we've done is we've actually divided it into categories for all the topics that we're going to be talking about today. So we are going to be giving our general feeling about what we experienced and our general thoughts about the game overall. So that includes, what we felt during the game at the end and how we feel now about the experience of playing the game, the visuals, for example, the graphics and textures, character models, general gameplay, battles, and a lot more. So All right, so this is your warning, guys. It's the spoiler cast episode. It's starting right now. All right, so I'm just gonna give my general experience and my general feeling about the game as a whole. So, as I said before, it took me a while to finish the game. I think when I finished, my characters were actually level 43, and my current playthrough time is 65 hours. So I did start to replay the game on hard mode, like after the chapter selection is unlocked after you finish just the game on normal difficulty. So I did chapters 1 and 2 so far on hard mode, and it hasn't been that like bad so far.
You know what's funny? I think I was also at around level 43 and also 65 hours when I finished.
Really?
So
Wow.
practically the same. Yeah, it's fun.
See,
Interesting.
I like when I would go like I would battle enemies and then I would leave and then they would respawn and I would continuously battle them because I was trying to get as much AP and level up my materia and try to get, be a higher level basically. Cuz for what was coming basically. But that's how I always play Final Fantasy games anyway. Like I don't just go through the story and you know what I mean? Just like
Yeah.
I do the quests and I do the side quests immediately, but I do go back and grind a little bit, just because that's what I like to do, and that's what I usually do in all RPGs that I end up playing. It's just something that I enjoy doing. So that's what I did, and I think that if you were level 43 and I was as well, I think that we were higher level than other people because I saw other people posting stuff like they were only level 35 when they beat the
Mhm.
game, and somebody beat it on 40 hours playthrough. So I don't know. That seems like it seems pretty low, but
Skipped side quest probably,
I don't
maybe,
think so.
or
I
just
think that
or just ran through.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I explored like every nook and cranny that I could, and
Yep.
every time that the game tried to funnel me forward, I always turned around and went backwards to kind of
Same.
explore. Even though sometimes it won't let you. It gives you the warning
Mhm.
symbol, and which is super annoying. It won't
Mhm.
let you go forward. I mean, it won't let you go backwards because it wants you to go forward in the story, so it locks parts of the game until you like get to that specific story um, plot or whatever in the game that the game's trying to funnel you through. Then it unlocks, then you can go back. But yeah, so I absolutely love this game. So emotional, just, putting it in and hearing the music and loading it in and just reliving the opening sequence again. And we did kind of talk about this on our bonus episode, like, which was like a few weeks ago, because we did a spoiler cast for chapters 1 to 4, and we also talked about this. But just, I found myself like not wanting to stop playing. So, but after a while, I would feel tired because I would just because it takes so much energy to really pay attention to everything and experience the story again, and it's kind of an emotional roller coaster. So I just had to take frequent breaks, um, just to continue playing throughout the day, basically. When I had time, basically, like on the weekends, I don't have to do as much work as I do during the week, so I played a lot during the weekend, and I played hours and hours and hours. Then I'd have to take breaks and go back, but sometimes I would just a cutscene would start and the cutscenes were a little longer, so I wouldn't know like how long the cutscene was going to be, and I already felt exhausted. So then I would kind of just sleep my PS4 in the middle in the like when the cutscene started, and then I would be like, okay, make a mental note. This is what is happening currently, and then go back to it later. And I did this a lot with Metal Gear Solid 4, but those cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid 4 were like 30 minutes, but you just didn't know
Yep.
that they were going to be 30 minutes long, so you'd just be sitting there like, I have to go to the washroom, I have other stuff to do, you know what I mean? And then you come back to it or something like, um, but it wasn't as long as that, so it was fine. It's just that I was tired and I just had to stop, so it took me a little bit longer to finish.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I loved the story. I loved I loved a lot of what they added to the story and what they built upon from the original, and I did enjoy the added story elements for the members of Avalanche. We got a lot more time with Avalanche and the main party as well. and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the side quests. We talked a lot about this before in the previous episode as well. I didn't mind going and, having to find the cats for the little girl and then, helping the kids in their hideout. And it ended up being that it was a mini game, which was super awesome. I really enjoyed that. That's probably the box. What is it called? I forget what it's called.
Whack-a-box.
Yeah, Whack-a-Box. Okay. So that I think was my favorite mini game. And I didn't mind doing that because it felt like I was communicating with the children of the slums, and I was making kind of relationship with them, and they have their own little, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like their own little group and their own little worlds as they're trying to kind of go through the story as well, and you hear a lot about what's going on from the NPCs when you walk by, and most of them are adults, right?
Yep.
But I really liked seeing a glimpse of how it, like a child's outlook on everything that was happening.
Yeah, the children portion was really well made, in my opinion. It was pretty good.
I loved it. I loved it. Yeah, I loved every minute of that. And there were a few things, like, for example, the NPC lip syncing, for the most part, was not that great. Like, there was the side quest people, like, when you go to NPC and you talk to them and it shows them close up, the lip syncing could have been better.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. But the main side quest people were, like, the teacher was pretty good, and the little kids did a really great job as well, and the lip syncing for the kids were good, but there were just some times where it was off. I'm not sure if that was because of the bugs that we've had that the game has, that we've talked about with the texturing as well. Like, so anyway.
Apparently for the lip syncing, they used an AI that automatically generated the lip movement for the different languages, so that they didn't have to mocap everything.
Yeah.
So that's probably why you also sometimes see it on the main characters on minor dialogues.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's not that bad.
Yeah, I noticed it more later on, though. I didn't notice the lip syncing being a little cringy, like with the main cast, until later. For the most part, when you're going through the story and it's showing you the story cutscenes, it's really good. But then there's some side quests where it zooms in on the party's face and they're talking back to the NPC or the quest giver, whatever. And it's kind of awkward. Like, I had to kind of look away because I was kind of embarrassed, because I was like, it's not good. Like, but, anyway, these are things that happen and it's fine. And I loved the game anyway, so I still finished it, and I really did like it a lot. I thought the music was incredible, and just living through all of the experiences that I had when I was a kid and I played through this game again, it really hit the nostalgia factor for me. And we talked a lot about the music previously on other episodes as well, just from playing the demo, and I just loved it. There were some tracks that they created that are new. I'm not sure how I feel about them yet. Like, I feel like I'll be able to make I'll have a better opinion on those songs later when I've kind of went away from the game, and then I come back to it and experience it again, because it'll probably give me that feeling of how I felt when I played the game, like played this game on my first playthrough. Like, do you know what I mean?
I think so, yeah, because sometimes you need to warm up to certain tracks.
Yeah, and the music is so important because it ties to your human emotion, right? So at that moment, it's like you attach it to if you felt like happy or sad or whatever, and what you were wearing, or how maybe what something smelled like, like when you play it and then you leave and you come back again and you play it like maybe a year or two later, and then you sit down and you actually play through it again, you hear everything, then you'll remember how you felt opening up the first class edition and putting the cloud figurine on your little thing, and then putting it in and hearing the music again. Like, then you'll know how you felt. So those songs, for me, I enjoyed them, but I didn't enjoy them as much as the original updated songs that we've grown up with, like, listening to, right?
A good example for like this attachment to the situation with music is the music we've heard during the trailer. I think the last trailer I saw was the theme song trailer, and this one had the Hollow theme song first, and then another
Right.
rendition of the boss theme song. And all those story scenes that happened while Hollow was playing, I kinda got reminded of watching the trailer again and hearing that part of the Hollow song when those scenes played in the finished game. So then hearing another song and another track, and those parts were kind of jarring the first few seconds, but then
Yeah.
I remembered, well, it was just a trailer. Just switch back again, brain, please. Forget the trailer.
Yeah.
It's probably the same effect.
I think that they did a really great job like incorporating multiple arrangements of the same song, and then like we talked about this, when the environment changes, like it's more seamless. But I thought they could have changed, like, I don't know, I thought they could have made even more original compositions, maybe, to switch it up with the new
sometimes
original compositions, because some of them, like, you spend a lot of time in the same area and it's the same song playing over and over again, but it's a new song, but it's the same one. And I'm like, they could have made different arrangements of the new songs and did the same thing they did with the old ones, depending on the situation. And they did a little bit of this, and this is being like hypercritical, you know, but I love this game, so that's, you know, what I'm going to do. And, you know, I think that they can improve on this in the future, but it's still kind of there like it was in the original Final Fantasy VII when you play it, when the songs just repeat like over and over and over again. There was even more of it back then, but they still did a little bit of this, which was a little annoying for me. And then I just like I just stopped playing it because I was like, I have to take a break and come back to it. And it was fine again the next day for another like 4 hours. And I'm like, okay, like if I have to hear like like, no, I just can't.
Oh, right, yeah.
Da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, I have to stop. I have to go back to it later because
or the wall market theme.
Yes. Right? Like, they should have came up with multiple wall market themes.
Well, they did actually. There's one for Chocobo Sam and one for Madame M when in their vicinity.
I know,
but it's too little. It's just a small area.
Especially too when you're in the pause menu and you're trying to upgrade your weapons, and you're just kind of switching at your materia or whatever. Like at one point I had to turn it off because I was making food and I had paused it because I was like, oh, I'm gonna upgrade my weapons. Then I was like, oh well, maybe I'll make a snack. It's a good time to have some food and whatever. And I left my TV on and the sound system on and in the pause menu. And then I was making food and I got distracted on my phone, and then I was like, oh my god, I have to shut this off. Like I can't.
Yeah,
I
sometimes
do it. Like,
it's just too much.
Yeah, like I was just like, I think I'm just gonna take a break because I just needed a break and I couldn't do it. Like hearing the same thing over and over again, looped. I think it was the Colosseum music actually.
Ah, I see. Yeah,
I was like, I couldn't do it anyway.
Which is more a percussion track, but still,
yeah.
It's the same all the time.
These are just small things, but
yeah,
I loved that they kind of went there with the language. I loved that they were like cussing and being sassy with each other, and I think that they kept the comedy and the quirkiness of the original as well, which I really appreciated. We'll talk about this later as well. Just, you know, the game created moments between the characters and made it feel genuine. It wasn't just kind of like thrown in there and thrown away, you know, like just with Jesse being sassy, and also, for example, Wedge getting bitten in the ass and Jesse slapping him in the ass, and that sort of thing, like, was just, it was so funny and just felt like, yeah, that's totally what she would do. She would totally do that. And
definitely,
you know, just stuff like that I really appreciate. I loved it. And even Madame M and Chocobo Sam, like, and Leslie Kyle, less so. Oh, and Andrea or whatever, like, the three of them together in the Coliseum, they're just, Madame M's being so sassy, right? And there's like Madame M and and Chocobo Sam obviously had a little fling in the
Yeah,
past.
had.
And they're just a little sassy with each other. Like, I love that. I was like, yes, let's go.
This was really
like,
good. Yeah.
Let's go. Like, I loved it. We already talked a lot about the voice work for the main cast and the other, like, the new characters as well. I thought they did a fantastic job. I love them all.
Yep.
You know, I thought it was awesome. The Kyrie character was super annoying to me.
I hate her.
It's not her voice. It's just, as a character, I just don't.
Yeah.
I know that she's in, like, one of the other novels or whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe the lines, like the script that was given, like written, the lines for her were just bad. They were just really cringy. Maybe that's what they wanted, but she's basically the only one that I was kind of like, okay, I just don't like this character, and I don't like her. It's not the voice actor's fault. I just didn't like the voice. I didn't like the voice, and she was just super annoying.
I think the problem is that you only see like a very small portion of her actual character, and
yes,
only this part where she talks crap about Avalanche and where she steals stuff and doesn't want to get it back and wants to get her way as well, and is really just a brat, 100% just a brat.
Yeah,
and although I liked the resolution of that quest. She got her ass kicked a little bit, not physically, but mentally a little bit. Yeah.
And her grandmother is Mireille, right?
Yeah.
Which is the angel of the
exactly.
slums. And we'll talk about this a little bit later as well. But I really loved that character a lot. And then I kind of gave
awesome.
Kyrie a pass because you're more closer with. You get to know, like, Mireille, the angel of the slums, more than Kyrie, right? So then also the grandmother knows that, you know, she's just ridiculous. And she takes no accountability for her actions. And Mireille is a little sassy with her response to Kyrie for that whole quest. And I was just like, yes, thank God somebody
she doesn't
else
hold back.
feels the same way. Like, just shut up. Just shut up. Like, girl, like, you need to sit down, okay? Like, you're going to learn your lesson eventually. And I'm sure this character will be in the next, like, subsequent parts of the game. We'll see if this storyline pays off. But anyway,
I hope so. Also, what one little point I want to bring up here is that this game practically every single situation where a character misbehaves or is a doofus or is annoying or anything like that, the other characters will call them out each time.
Yes.
So it's they're really aware. The scripters and the storytellers are aware of everything. Like, it's the thirstiness of Jessie. Cloud even calls her out, and all those things. I love it.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, and I do agree with you. It's not just like they're just stupid, and they're just. It's not a living world, right? Like, it's like, no, they actually listen and they respond in a way that they would, and they know, like, the characters know, like, how ridiculous it is, and they add those things in, right? Like, for example, when Cloud's doing the side quest for the old man, you have to go fight the I forget what the enemy is. It might have. I don't think it was
Venom something.
I don't think it was a ghost, but it was when the old man told him to go to this. Couldn't go to the cemetery and pay respects or whatever, and then you as Cloud, like, you respond some way anyway, and he ends up getting mad with you because you don't want him to go back there. So you have to tell him to shut up and something. And then Aerith is just like, don't you just love
helping people?
Yeah, helping people. And he's like, And the old man's just like, you, Mark, you're just an ass and blah, blah. And you're like,
it's all about money with you.
Exactly. And I'm like, yeah, this is how I feel sometimes as well, doing side quests for people, right? Like, anyway.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I liked the added story element of the Whispers plot. We'll talk a lot about this at the end, but I did like that. Sometimes they were really annoying, because,
which was
like,
the point.
But I thought the same thing. Like, I did appreciate them and what they might represent, but sometimes they were annoying because you couldn't get to like certain
Materia
parts. Yeah, like I don't know if I talked to you about this, but I was talking in the in the Discord, our podcast Discord server, and I was talking to somebody anyway, I think in private message, and I was just like, oh, I missed one of the materias because the whispers are in front of the chakra materia in the church, and I couldn't get to it. And then I was like, oh, make a mental note that it's there, don't miss it. And then I remember going back, and the doors to the church were closed, you couldn't get in, like, before moving on to the next thing. And then there's so many side quests unlocked, and I just totally forgot to go back there to check again.
Yeah, same.
But you end up going back there later anyway, so I got it. Thank God, the story takes you back there. So then I got it anyway. So I don't know if I missed any materia after all. I think there was one that I missed. Was there? I just really sorry.
No worries.
This is gonna happen. We're gonna go off on a tangent here. But was there a materia underground, when you go underground and you are going to the Shinra labs underground? Is there a materia on the side, but if you press a button, one of the like the machine robot arm falls on it and destroys it? Is there a materia there? Because I clicked the button before going and checking, and it looked like there was a green glow, and it looks like the robot arm that is being held up by a clamp, and you press the button, it fell and it destroyed it. Anyway,
I don't remember.
I have to see him a second playthrough, I guess, but I was like, oh man, I saw something glowing over there. I shouldn't have pressed this button before going over there.
Let's hope you were just imagining things.
Yeah. Okay, so I loved a lot of the game. I talked a lot about the positive things. So some gripes, and we talked about this on the last episode, but here we go. So my gripes are the textures. We talked about this, but they're doing a lot of trickery like they did in the original, when they just had a static image and they just create walls, and the character goes through, like, that's what determines what parts of the still image that they can go to, right? Like, it's not as bad pixelated, but it's still pretty pixelated, and I'm just it's low res, and I hope that it's a texture issue that will be fixed in a patch. I'm not sure though, because I think that they might have changed it because they had performance issues, and they would rather it be perfect performance, like FPS wise. I mean, like, obviously, I think it was Digital Foundry did actually a video, and the frame rate is locked. Like, it does not dip. It's 30. Perfect. It's 30 throughout the whole game, and that's awesome. Like, the gameplay experience was incredible, in my opinion, with the FPS and the performance. But it's just really annoying. So I hope they can go back in and change it. But the sky, the like plates. It's just a static picture. It's not.
It is
3D.
Nothing.
It's not 3D. It's not a real 3D rendition of everything. And it's just a picture that they turned into a globe, like Google Earth. And to basically hide the fact that it's not real 3D animated in real time Midgar. And I'm not saying that, I don't think that would have been possible and have it at that good of a performance, and I understand, but at least make it as HD 4K resolution HDR
at least
picture possible, because when you look and you're playing it, I was so annoyed when I found that out, because I felt like I was tricked. And then I looked up, and I'm like, those little bastards. Like, the farthest plate, like, parts of the plates that are furthest away from you are so pixelated. I was like, I am so surprised. And also chapter 6, you can see the slums below you. And it's bad.
The perspective is completely off.
It just doesn't, I was just like, what? They let this go? They just released this game like this? I was not happy. I just went through it anyway, and I just went through it anyway, and I kind of just was like, okay, you just have to get over it, because the rest of the game is so amazing.
Yeah.
But I really hope that this stuff is fixed in a patch, and we don't know. And I don't know if Japan is self-isolating like we are here in Canada. I think they are. I don't think that they're working on a limited employee number at their offices. So
Not sure.
that's probably why it hasn't been patched yet. Honestly, it probably will later.
Or probably they're just collecting everything and release one big patch instead of just little patches each week or something. Maybe, I don't know.
They also do it in the President Shinra's office because the window is just a low-res picture of above plate Midgar, and it's literally pasted on the window.
Is it though?
It's not a real... It is, yes. You can see... Didn't you see the video of the guy that got... found a bug in the demo and actually found a way to go through the wall? There's nothing behind
chapter
it.
1. In chapter 1, it's
the same exact thing.
Yeah.
It's just a picture. It's a low-res JPEG. It looks like a bad screenshot that's been zoomed in. Why can't, like... I know I'm being really harsh right now, but why can't you just have an animated sky? Like, why couldn't you just have an animated sky? Like, why couldn't you just do that? Like in Red Dead 2, I know it has day and night cycles, okay? But even if you don't want to include day and night cycles, I honestly think that they could have had day and night cycles in this game. I think it would have been fine. You could have went back to your hotel room where you were staying and you could have slept in bed for it to turn into daytime, or if you just stayed up and you did a bunch of side quests, it just turned to day because you didn't bother to go to sleep. I think they could have done that. And the quests that we did at nighttime are only available at nighttime, and the ones during the day are only available during the day. They have an animated sky. The lighting system is incredible, but where's the sun? There's no sun in the sky. You can't see it. There's just clouds that are static. It really took me into the game, and I was like disappointed because I was like, man, I know what this game could have been if it had all of these things. Even though I loved it for what it is, and I will continue to love it, and I'm going to play all of them, and I'm probably going to rebuy it on PC. It's fine. The gameplay and the story and the characters and the music and the graphics as well, but it's just, I really think that they could have done that. And they did it in Spider-Man. Spider-Man is not a huge open world game like Red Dead 2. They still did that. And I talked a lot about Spider-Man on the podcast because I think that they could have borrowed things from that, like other games. And I think, like, we already know that they talked about how they really looked at God of War when they were developing the game. And you can see that God of War influence here.
Yeah, you can sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. But I think that they should have went further with it. And probably they ran out of time. They didn't. I don't know. But I'm surprised. I was just surprised. Yeah.
I do agree on most accounts, but I do have some counterpoints. For example, because why there's no sun? Well, there is sunlight, but there's no sun because it's always kind of cloudy all around the place here in Midgar because of the pollution. So I don't think they ever have a completely clear.
No, I know that. Yeah,
that's probably the reason why I don't see. Yeah.
But still,
but it's not animated. I agree that it's always just a static image. The skybox is always just a static image, and that's a little bit of a bummer. And the real low resolution. Yeah.
At nighttime, you don't notice it as much.
Yeah, of course, because it's dark.
All of the text is dark, so the lights are only shining on things that they want you to be able to see, basically, so they can get away with it. A lot of this game happens in the daytime, and I was pretty disappointed, honestly. And I wanted to talk to you about this before and kind of put this out there, but anyway, that's pretty much it for the gripes for me. And then, like I said, a few of the songs I'm kind of like, I don't know, I need to come back to the game later and replay it again, multiple playthroughs. The NPC like speech thing hopefully will get patched out where, you know, it's like you're forced into a cutscene, but the NPCs are just talking so loud in your ear, and it doesn't, like, they don't stop talking. We talked about that before, especially too on the train, and when they're showing the propaganda on the huge screen in the slums. and the people are around you watching the TV, but you're supposed to be listening to the person on the TV and you can't hear what they're saying because
Yeah,
the
it's the volume
NPCs.
balancing is off. Yeah.
So, but other than that, I really did love this game. I really did enjoy it, and the battle system I think is my favorite part. And I know like we're not doing like an official review, but like if I were to give this a score, it would be like 9.5 out of 10 for those things that we talked about. But fanboy, it would be like 11 out of 10 because I'm just so happy to be in this world and experience it again and see these characters, and I just loved it. But I took points away for all of the things that we talked about, and I think that's being pretty generous. But yeah.
Yeah.
I talked a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, what I think, a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I tried to make my notes really concise here, but I'll probably end up talking for an hour anyway. But yeah, it's in general, the whole way through from start to finish was really a ride, like a huge train ride you couldn't get off. Like this infamous saying, there's no getting off of this train we're on until it reaches a station or something like that. Yeah, exactly. This is my experience in a nutshell. But of course, this is too little, so I need to go a little bit more into detail. Oh, yeah, I need to really give him credit for being extremely faithful to the original most of the time. There are so many little hints and little parts that are still in there, sometimes different, sometimes a little bit changed around, but still in there. For example, this guy are sick. Maybe not the phrase is there, but the guy with number tattoo is there, and even has now a major plot relevance.
Yeah,
it's really good, and yeah, it's just everything is just blown almost out of proportions. Sector 5 slums, it's just in the original, it just run through, maybe buy a few stuff, talk to people, and then you have the events at Aerith's house. Then you're done, run out again, and then go through Sector 6. Here, 5 hours of side quests.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of other interactions and NPCs and lore, and yeah, they really do it justice, I think, because in the original, when you think back, it's good, it's well paced, especially because there's much more content afterwards, after Midgar, so they had to keep it concise.
Yeah.
But a lot was missing still. Few locations were just really underutilized. Mostly the sewers, I don't really care for the sewers, but the train graveyard was just a dungeon. Nothing to it. Nothing. And here they added lore to it, they added a side story. Yeah. I think it was a little bit off because we needed to go to the plate, and then being distracted with ghosts, and the side story was kind of jarring. But I liked it anyway.
Yeah. I love that part too, and I liked that it gave us a break from everything else that we were doing. And I love the environments because they made it like creepy, right? Where there were ghosts, and it was just the music too, and that's what I appreciated about it. But I will tell you that what I don't like about this game is that they funnel you through and they won't let you go back or go wherever you want. And I understand why, because there's different things happening in the story, and they kind of want to conceal different environments in the map. They like, you can't go to the train graveyard right away from the beginning. When you go there, exactly. I don't know what would fix this, but I think that they could have left everything open and you can go anywhere. It's just that you can't go like through the entire train graveyard at the beginning. Maybe they populate it with different enemies, like only enemies that you've seen up until that point. It's not actually like the Eligor is not going to be there. Maybe it's just going to be, a stronger type of like beast or something like that's there instead, that you can still fight, that you can go to and get experience from if you want to farm and actually like push yourself to do difficult battles in the beginning of the game. And I didn't like that the game took over and you couldn't go back after. Like it was like warning, warning. Like you don't
Mm.
you don't need to do that to me. Like I don't think that they needed to do that. I think that they could have just had it more open. Anyway, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm on two minds of this. One is I like openness and going back and forth most of the time, or back to old areas, or maybe going to areas you're not supposed to go yet to
Mhm.
grind
Yeah.
against stronger enemies and stuff. But the whole game design, how everything was set up and balanced, they had to kind of funnel you through the whole experience, go from point A to point B to point C, to not have you distracted too much and maybe over leveled and everything. So I understand why they did it, but I would have preferred a little different
Yeah.
approach to.
But couldn't they just scale the enemy level then? Like to whatever level you are? Like why do they have to have like if I'm level 20 because I wanted to farm, like why okay, I'm overpowered now because like why couldn't they just do that? I know that it's programming and coding and everything, but other games do that where the enemies just scale with whatever level you are. So,
Sometimes they do, yeah, but sometimes it also doesn't really feel rewarding. Then you grind and grind and grind, and the enemies are as strong as you anyway. So grinding was
yeah, that's true.
kind of
That's
pointless.
true.
So
I'm just saying like how
yeah,
I felt and what I
sure.
think if it's a legitimate thing, like how they would go about like changing it. But
Mm.
if other people thought the same thing, and I'm sure, like you said as well, like you just it's like when the game takes over, you're like, oh, this again, like I can't go down here. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of annoying. But what I liked about 15, yes, it's like fake open world kind of, but for example, when the game lets you just roam, there's a really difficult like dragon monster thing in a pit beside the gas station, and I was like, I don't know, level 5. I'm like, I'm gonna go fight it, and I beat it, and I fought it, and I got crazy experience and could unlock like more things, and I was like, this is rewarding. Like if I want to do that, I can do that
That's
because I've
true.
already
Yeah.
played Dark Souls. I've already played like other games that are really difficult, and I wanted a challenge and I want to be rewarded for that. Like there's a little bit of that in the original 7 where you can farm and like for example, everything's closed. You can't go everywhere on the map. You need like a chocobo, you need the tiny bronco. Like you can't go everywhere, but you can, if you wanted to, go different places, and there are harder enemies, and you could kill them and get like that. So I don't know. I just felt like I was like, well, what's over here? Like what's through this uh metal fence thing? Like the you know what I mean? Like I'm like, why can't I go in there? It shows it on my map. It's grayed out, but I can't go there.
Yeah, that's the linear aspect of this game. This is a design choice, as said
Hmm.
before, and yeah, it's kind of boils down to your own expectations and
That's true.
own preferences.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah.
yeah, and I usually try to like work with the game, work with what
Hmm.
the game gives me, and
Yeah, yeah.
not complain too much. But sometimes I was like, well, just let me explore a little bit more, please. Save the story for later. I want to explore first. But yeah, that's it's in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of minor, so it
Yes, it
wouldn't detract too
is.
much. So
Yeah.
yeah. So don't think we're hating on the game right now. It's just we're kind of elevating the bad right now, so to
Yeah.
tell you what we feel, but it's just a small little fish in a big pond of awesomeness. So
We already knew what we were getting into anyway with this game. Like I knew it was going to be more story based, and I knew that it
yeah,
was going
sure.
to funnel me down like, tunnels and doing all of
Hmm.
that stuff. I was just playing other games. I think coming into it, I was just a little bit surprised that I was like, oh, I can't actually go wherever I want. I'm doing this. That's fine, but I don't know. It's just me, I guess, as a player. But there are other people that that's what they wanted, and they didn't enjoy this game, right? So
Yeah.
you're not going to please everybody. That's the thing.
No, no,
So
definitely not. Yeah. But one positive about this is that they had the control over how they're going to lead you through the game and the story, and thus it was. I think it was very engaging. Had quite a
yes,
few
yes.
portions of variety and
Hmm.
changing things up, and it not everywhere, but most of the times it really felt like you're living and breathing world. Not just because there are
Yes.
NPCs and stuff, but also how everything is made up and how everything is designed, and the
Mm-hmm.
differences between the different areas.
Yep.
So really feel the different cultures and different history maybe too. How the design
Yes.
is made, and it's pretty cool. Also the difference between reactor number 1 and reactor number 5 is vast. The one
Yes.
number 1
Yes.
is ancient and number 5 is pretty advanced.
I was I
So
was I was thinking that they were gonna like I was hoping that it wasn't gonna be like all of the reactors were the same.
yeah.
I was scared that they were that it was gonna be like a cop out and every single
Mm.
one was. I don't know why I thought that. I just felt like I was like, oh god, like
Well,
they're all gonna be the same.
it's exactly the same in the original, just the color scheme is different, but the
Yes.
layout is exactly the same. So, yeah.
Like going back to what you said about the world being lived in and everything, and I know that we're going to talk about this a little bit later about the characters as well, but I did appreciate, for example, some of the NPCs ended up in different areas. Like, for
That's
example,
true, yeah.
the teacher was there, you go to Wall Market, she's in Wall Market. We're going to talk a
Yeah.
little bit about later about why she's in Wall Market. But just stuff like that. And the kids are running around and they're going different places, and you could see them laughing and they're like doing their thing, but then the adults are there, and it did feel like lived in, and it was like a living, breathing world. Yeah, I really appreciated that as well. So
Definitely, yeah. Now, generally, this was my impression of the game up until, let's say, halfway through chapter 17, and then stuff started to become crazy.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's say President Shinra's office. When you
Mm-hmm.
reach that one, then everything takes completely 180. Nothing is as in the original anymore. Well, some things are, of course, like the
Yes.
general gist of it is still the
Yeah.
same, but the
Yeah.
details completely different.
I was like,
And
what the
we,
hell is going on? When I
yeah,
was going through it, like I was like, wait, okay, so I know that like President Shinra ends up dead,
yeah.
right? And I'm like, okay, so the glass window is
Hmm.
smashed and you can just hear somebody screaming help. I'm like, it's probably him. So then I'm like, where is he? I couldn't find him. I was just like looking around, like going around, like maybe I won't. And then I looked down, you can see like he's hanging there, right? I like
Yeah.
maybe I won't help you, okay?
Exactly.
Maybe I don't want to. And I didn't right away. I went around the whole environment looking for stuff. I'm like, yeah, you can wait till I'm good and ready to come over there. But I agree. I agree. I was like, what the hell is going on right now? Anyway, sorry to kind of
Yeah,
go
no
off on a
worries.
tangent here, but I know how you feel because I felt the same way.
Yeah, and then it went really bonkers at the end of the highway, and just like kind of a retelling of Advent Children. Everyone's jumping all over the place, slicing buildings, the Kingdom Hearts style. And what is this? What the heck? But of course, when you start digging into theories and looking at the whole game again, stuff
Yeah.
starts to make sense. But at first, it's like, what is happening here? And yeah, this was really confusing. And thought, well, they just wanted to add a last boss gauntlet, last dungeon, and flash and
Mm-hmm.
over the top and everything, and confusing as heck. And but yeah, afterwards, when I kind of distilled all my thoughts and went through a few cutscenes again from the game, and
Yeah.
later talked to people, stuff started to make more sense, and now I like it even
Mm-hmm.
more than before.
Yeah. Same here. Same here. I haven't really had the chance to talk to that many people about it. Just a few people on our podcast Discord, and actually I haven't even like talked to you about it really. Just in a few
That's true,
DMs,
yeah.
like really quickly
Yeah.
because I know like you're so busy, you're making so much content and everything. I
Try
haven't
to.
really had anybody to talk to. So like you
Yeah.
said, I just watched the Easy Allies Max Dude Spoilercast
Mm.
3-hour video, and then I was like, oh, okay. So then I started to feel a little bit better about everything.
Mm.
Um, as well, but I was also really confused, and I enjoyed it though. Like I didn't mind that I was jumping all over the place like an Advent Children kind of thing. And I just remember too that I think it was Nomura said that they didn't want to make this game until it could surpass like or be
Yeah.
as good as Advent Children. So I'm sure that he was like, oh, let's make it like Advent Children like style fight scene because the fight scenes are so incredible and stuff like that. And I did enjoy that part, but I didn't know what the hell was going on. I did
Yeah,
not
same.
understand what was happening. I liked that it was cool, like jumping around on like pieces of like broken Midgard just flying around, and you're like boom, like But I just didn't understand what's going on, so I was also very confused. And they kind of explained it in their spoiler video, like it's kind of like a transport truck. It's just like you're going at the end. It's just like you know what I mean, like all at once. It's kind of like it's like just the brakes are off and the truck's just going and it doesn't go until it smashes into something at the very end of the game when it's just over and you're like, what the hell just happened?
I did understand a few things, but like the overall, I had to process this thing a few days.
So did I. I turned it off and I went back, like I stopped for 2 days, I think, and was like, trying to process everything and see how I felt about it. What would you give this game if you were to give it a score? Not like, this our scores mean anything because we're not professional game reviewers. But what would you give it out of 10?
From a feeling, there are two scores. One is of course the subjective score, and the other one would be the objective score, or nigh objective score, because purely objective is not possible.
Yeah,
but from a personal standpoint, like just from a fan's perspective, 95 or even 100 out of 100, because it's just so awesome. And a few gripes with the textures and stuff. Yeah, maybe 95 out or 9.5 out of 10.
Out of 10, yeah.
Critically, I'd have to be a little bit harsher, probably. 8.59. Something like that. I'd have to think about it a little bit more. But there are if you really go through it, a lot of details that could be improved upon. Also in the battle system, and the quality of textures and stuff. At least the performance is superb, and the characters look superb.
I never had a frame drop like the entire game. I never had a performance drop with all of the effects that are things that are happening in the and you're casting these huge flames exploding like Firaga or whatever, and there's so many things going on, especially too when you're battling with Aerith. She has so many particle effects coming like when you're like, you know what I mean, and like little petals from flowers flying around, and there's no performance drop like at all. So I totally agree with you as well on that aspect for your your score that you would give it. Very similar to what I would give it as well. So all right guys, so we're moving on to what my thoughts were on the visuals of the game. So we kind of talked about this before. I think that most of the environments look good, and I think that the character models look incredible. It was really hard to tell the difference between the character models and the CGI scenes. I think there was 2 times when I was just like, wait, is this CGI? The rest of the times I could tell the difference. I think they hide it really well, and I think that they did an amazing job with the overall graphics of this game. Obviously, we talked a lot about the negative of the textures, and hopefully this gets fixed. And then if they do fix this stuff, obviously we will be talking about that, and that'll improve the game, even more. And I want to go back and I want to replay it if they do patch and fix these things. And I think that it is a problem and it is a bug because there is a lot of texture popping and stuff happening like closer to the end of the game and about halfway through. That doesn't happen as much in the beginning, but I do think that it's a bug. Like I do. Like I want to believe it is, but I think that it is. So if they can fix that, that would be awesome. And I'm gonna go back and replay it like after, like post patch, if they do end up like. I mean, I'm gonna play it anyway, but it'll just be more enjoyable, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But I also think it's kind of a performance issue that maybe some textures have a lower priority and don't get loaded in because the frame drop would be noticeable, so they don't load in or something, or load in
Mm-hmm.
too late, especially in the wall market segment by day. You notice
Yeah.
it that so many textures take a few seconds to load in.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
run onto against a wall or something, or towards a
Yeah.
wall, and it's just a mess of pixels, and you wait a few seconds, and then bloop,
Yeah.
it loads in.
It's like that vending machine with the whale on it in the hotel in the wall
Ah,
market.
right, yeah.
There's a side quest where you actually have to go back to that vending machine thing with the whale on it. So it was very crisp looking, and then like I went back to it after for the side quest, and I was like, it just looked like a pixelated box with like you couldn't even see that there was a whale on it. It was just like a blue blob, and I'm like,
Okay, that's weird, yeah.
is this the same? Is this the same vending
It's
machine? You know
really
what I
strange,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought the level design was good. I thought that we already talked about this too, where I just wish that you could go different places, like wherever you wanted, but I understand why they chose not to have that available. I guess I just felt like the slums were large. I guess like enough. I just felt like they could have been bigger. I don't know if that's what I feel though. Like I don't know what it is. I just feel like they were large, but there wasn't a lot to do in those little tucked away areas. Like I don't know, like you know how sometimes there's extra streets. There's just NPCs on the streets. Like there's no shops there. There's nothing like for you to. There's no reason really for you to go down those other like alleyways. I just felt like I wanted a reason to go there, and also I wanted more area. But anyway, that's just me.
At least in wall markets, there were a few side quests which had you go there into the alleys and into the.
I still went there anyway because I wanted to see it.
Yeah, same.
You know, I think Sector 5 did an improvement on that because the side quest holders were actually in some of the buildings, like the retirement home, and then there was a doctor outside in that area, and the school. But see how it's all concentrated. The school, the doctor office, the retirement home is all there, and they all have people. Like, what about the other little side streets that like you can go down and there's nobody? Like those cool cafe looking things where they have it and there's actually people working there, but there's nothing there. You can't go to the person and order something to drink.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, that's also a bummer.
And the guy who owns the restaurant, when you go in the first time you go to Wall Market, he eventually ends up being a quest giver later in the story when you have his side quests and stuff unlocked. But when you go there, first he's like, hey, what do you want to order? We have this. And you can't even order anything.
You can't do anything. Yeah,
you can't even order anything. And I went up to him to try to like talk to him, interact, like triangle, whatever. And you can't even talk to him. I was like, what? Like, at least they could have a little mini cutscene where he makes you a little plate of food and it gives you some HP, where you sit down and you're like, hey, you eat it and you're like, yeah, this is really good. And then it shows you get HP. And then like, great. And then maybe it costs 5 gil or something and that's it. They could have done that in the other areas.
In this specific instance wouldn't be as wise because of the quest that comes later, which upsets Johnny's stomach. And if you could just go there and eat and replenish HP, it kinda would. It probably would diminish the effect. And also, there are, I think, 3 other people that are kind of sick, and maybe some of them went there to eat and are now sick.
Yeah, but what about changing it so that you go there, you eat, and this happens, and then the world knows that you did that. So then you go, and then Johnny's like, oh, I'm sick, and these other people are sick, and they're like, oh, well, I ate the food here. You're like, man, I ate there, like, a few days ago, and I'm fine. Like, what are you talking about? Like, just stop faking it, because that's what Cloud would say anyway. And then...
That's true, yeah.
And then you go back for the quest, and the guy's like, oh, yeah, I remember you. Did you want another plate of what you ordered? Oh, what do you mean? People are sick? You weren't sick when you were here. Oh, really? well, maybe I should do this. And then the quest happens. So the world knows that you did those things. I'm
Yeah,
just
that could
saying
work.
that's
Yeah,
being
I can
really
see that.
picky. It's just being really
Yeah.
picky. But I I think for the level design, like it could have been a little bit better. And I think chapter 6 level design for me, I was like, oh, I think it was my least favorite chapter. I don't know why.
I
I don't
liked
know.
it. I don't know.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I like such kind of mazy, like
Yeah, I like that too. I like that too. But I don't know what it
yeah,
was. I just feel like I was disappointed because the textures on the slums below
yeah.
were
That one was
ridiculous.
really biggest offender there.
Then I was mad about that. And then I was like, oh, there's control panels that I can't access yet. Like, okay, so I have to move these things around. I like puzzles. That's fine. I don't know why. I just feel like it was just it wasn't
It's
as
just
memorable as the
yeah.
other things that I've been doing up until that point when now I'm like, oh, I have to turn off these solar things that provide light. Okay. Uh I did them, but I don't know. I just felt like it was a little slow and I was like I wanted something more and I was disappointed because of the textures on the environment,
Yeah.
like the picture because it's not
No.
being it's a picture. So
Yeah, maybe this area just didn't resonate with you. It can happen. It happens sometimes to me
yeah.
too. There are I think one or two tracks that don't really resonate with me. I just can't.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's might be what's happening.
I think Sector 5 slums is my favorite area. I loved Wall Market. I think that's one of my favorite areas as well. I just something about going to the back where Aerith's house
Arif's
is
house.
the first
Yeah, it's
time.
magical. It's really
It's
magical. Yeah.
just so magical. It's so magical. And I was just so impressed. And I was like, oh my God, it's beautiful. And then you go into the house. And then the
Mm.
house is just like a recreation of the original, but it's just like they got the old fashioned TV there, like a tube TV and the little
Yeah, it's really
kitchen. And
cozy.
oh my God, you go upstairs and you're like, oh my God, it's so good. And I was like, I was so emotional. Like, I was like, oh my God, am I going to cry now? Is this going to happen? Is this a tear? Like, am I shedding a tear? Wow. Like,
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Like, it was so
yeah.
good. And just, I love the church though, too. And I love the banter between, Aerith and Cloud on the,
Oh, this is awesome.
when you're going through your,
The rooftops.
the rooftops after you
Yeah,
have to escape through the top of the
this is
church. Like,
awesome. Yeah.
I loved that so much. And then the first time you get down, you're walking, and then the Under the Rotting Pizza or whatever plays, and you're like, yes. It's so good.
It's awesome. I love this track.
You're so good at singing it. You sang it like the last episode too. You just did the same thing.
Am I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Okay.
That's so awesome.
Oh.
But yeah, anyway, I talked a lot about visuals. So what do you think about visuals?
Visuals, gorgeous. No, I must say the characters and even most NPCs are just looking phenomenal. Like the level of detail is
Yeah.
just great. And this is exactly why some of the background texture or wall texture is
Yes.
such as sticks out like a sore thumb because
Yeah.
of the contrast.
The lighting,
Especially
though,
those
the
doors.
lighting system is
Lighting is-
incredible,
oh, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
but the lighting hides it really well.
Yeah, it
depending
does.
on
Usually
where
it
you
does.
are.
Mm. As soon as you get close to certain textures, it's just, oh, why? There's text on it, but I can't read it because it's pixelated. Why?
Yeah, like on
Oh,
the
well.
signs,
Yeah.
like behind the shopkeepers and stuff. Like you can't
Yeah.
even read what the signs say.
The funny thing is that in Chapter 2 in Sector 8, most of the text is really, really well readable on the signs. But in
Mhm.
Chapter 3, most of them, nope. Can't even read them. It's so strange. Same in, some wall market textures are also weird and crappy, but yeah, it's a little bit better, I think. But yeah, textures, I think we've ragged on the textures for too long now, so let's skip over
That's
this.
okay.
But what I did like is most interior areas, especially the Shinra HQ, looks phenomenal. It
Mm-hmm.
looks really, really good. All the textures, of course, when you really go up close, you do see that it's a texture and that it could be a little bit crisper. But usually, when just roam around and you're like 1 or 2 meters away from the walls, it looks gorgeous. Especially because of the lighting. The lighting is
Yes.
such. I don't even know how to describe it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I even think who was it? I think Kitase said that they used like 100
They did. They connected like 100 computers. Yeah. Which
exactly to
simulated like basically it does computations to simulate like how light would actually
bounce off the environment and stuff. Yeah, and yeah,
I think that the lighting in this game is probably the best that I've seen in any PS4 game. I think.
probably yeah,
I mean, Red Dead 2 is incredible, and the sky though in that game is incredible. Like I already talked about this, the day night
yeah.
system, like it's so good, but it's so open and it's not really populated that much. Like they have some little towns and stuff that you go to,
Mm.
but it's not as populated and I think compressed as this game. So maybe I don't know, but I thought that the lighting was really really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the focus isn't on the sky anyway. The focus of this game
No,
is the characters and
exactly.
the slums,
Exactly.
and that's
Exactly.
probably also why they chose to put focus on the areas and not the
Yes,
skybox.
but
Most
just
likely, but
animate
still,
it. Just
yeah.
animate it. Just animate
Or
it.
at least place a few 3D objects there, so that at least gives you depth. Because when you look down into the slums in Chapter 6, it's just flat, and even the perspective is off, and it
Yes,
looks
the
like a
perspective
flat
is
paper.
off.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's the most
this is what I'm
egregious
saying.
thing there. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah,
But the middle pillar like that looked good, and the plates above looked
it
good. They were a little
looked pretty good. Yeah,
pixelated, but I didn't really notice it until later. But
yeah,
yeah, they could have done a better job with that. And there's
definitely.
also a thing where you pointed out where there's actually a mistake
Oh yeah. This is I
one of the areas, and I was
completely
like,
forgot about that.
"What?" Like I couldn't believe that. I was like, "Oh my god, did you
Yeah,
email
it's
them? Did you
I
email
should
them?"
probably. I did
Hey
post it on Twitter, so
guys,
maybe.
just want
Oh,
you to know
yeah.
that there's a huge
um,
mistake in your video game.
yeah, definitely.
Also, hire me.
Yeah.
Hire
Hire
me.
me. I'll make sure that those mistakes won't happen. Hire me as a quality assurance guy, and I'll fix your game
Exactly.
or something. I don't know. Anyway, I think I think I even added the or pinged the
You did. You
Final Fantasy
did.
VII Remake Twitter account, but I don't think they
No.
noticed it or they ignored it. I don't know.
No. But you even took like you had a screenshot of like
Yeah,
some what it used to be and what it is now or something, and then you were like, "Yeah, so this is wrong."
about that.
There was two things. There was two things. It was the rude fight, and then in the
That too,
church.
yeah. Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I noticed that in the root fight in the trailer, it was correct. Then
Yes,
and
it's
then
wrong.
yeah, and now it's wrong. Or in the Cactuar Art DLC teaser, it was wrong again because then we're completely underneath the Sector
Yeah,
6 plate. It was correct before, and even before in the other, not the root fight specifically, but the scene before,
yeah,
you could see that there's a plate above, and now
mm-hmm.
there's no plate above or a plate that's
Yeah.
broken. And you can see it from the church, you can see it from the train station. It's I don't know, and even in the ending, I'm not quite sure what's up with that. But in the ending, where you see people rebuilding Sector 7, or at least it looks like they're rebuilding the Sector 7 slums above, there's again the Sector 6 plate and the broken
Yeah.
off Sector 6 plate, and Sector 7 plate is intact behind that. It's just what? What are
Oh
you
my
doing?
god. Wow.
Unless that's also something I'm not 100% clear on. If all the scenes where you see this glimmer falling down from the destroyed fate or whatever, that's kind of part of the alternate timeline or something, or if
Oh.
this is actually part of the now. I'm not quite sure right now because yeah, you see Bix is alive and they're rebuilding there in Sector 7, and but you also see Marlene talking through the flower with Barrett, or understanding or hearing Barrett calling out to
Yeah.
her through the flower. There's so much there that's kind of weird, and I'm not sure if this is intentional, like the skybox in the rebuilding of Sector 7 slums
Oh, yeah.
scene. It's I think it's an error, but it might also be intentional. But
Hmm.
if it's intentional, they would be rebuilding in Sector 6.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I
What
don't.
doesn't really make sense. I think
I
it's
mean,
a
if you want to
skybox error again.
justify it, you can come up with any explanation,
Yeah,
right? Like
of
if
course.
like because we're trying to find an explanation because we're like,
Yeah.
no, they couldn't have made a mistake and actually had it wrong. So we're coming up with things like, oh, maybe it's because this is the alternate timeline where different area
Yeah.
of the plate is in construction. Like, no, it's just a mistake. I honestly
I'm
think that
pretty
it's a
sure it is.
mistake.
Yeah.
And I think that,
Yeah.
oh, also, they might have changed it because where the lighting is darker in that part as well, like the Rude fight, like
Yeah.
in the OG trailer, like it looks like the sky's dark because the plate's
Mhm.
covering it.
Yeah, the lighting is also darker. It looks like it's
So maybe they were
overcast
like,
or
"Oh
something.
God, we're gonna have to change this because then like the lighting's gonna be weird here. So we'll just have to. Nobody will notice."
Yeah, nobody will notice. Of course,
Don't
nobody
you
will.
know your audience? Come on.
We are hardcore fans. We notice everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's also weird because in the wireframe version of the world map, or Midgar map, which you can, I think it's R3. You can open it with R3 in the menu,
Yes.
in the map menu.
Yes.
It says Sector 5 slums. It's there underneath the intact plate, and to the right, to the left, there's the broken off plate. You even see it in the wireframe representation.
Wow.
But then, when you're in Sector 5, beneath, next to the church, and you go further towards Sector 6, where, or I should say the other way, Sector 5 slums, it's pretty close to the separation
Yeah.
border, separation wall, and the church is on the completely other side,
Yeah.
or pretty much on the other side, because you walk past the support pillar, which is in the middle.
Yeah.
And even that's also something, when you're at the church, you see the pillar in the distance,
Yeah.
and you're pretty much underneath the middle. So the pillar is off. When you're near the pillar is pretty much in the center of the plate of the skybox. That's good. But when you're in Sector 5 slums, the pillar is in this distance again, but you're still underneath the middle, sort of a skybox. So it's so strange. I don't know what they were thinking. But
I
yeah,
think that it
enough
might be.
rant.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I think it's just that it might be something wrong with like the depth perception of like just having the images as a static image and then folding it around a globe.
Yeah,
Like it
probably,
might
yeah.
be like, yes, you're supposed to be under it, but it's like they couldn't make it zoom in enough or something, or maybe they didn't want it to zoom in enough to make it look like you're right under it, because then you'd be able to see the even worse textures or something. Like,
I don't know, yeah. But moving it along with you, like the positioning is correct. It was probably not as easy, and they thought, well, let's
exactly.
keep this for later, fix this later, because we need to fix other things first, or develop other things first. And yeah, at some point you have to say, okay, it's good. We don't have any time anymore.
Exactly.
The other small things, let's keep this for a later patch and just go gold and deliver it.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is what happened, because in project management you have to make priorities, and
yeah.
I think the performance
Exactly.
and characterization and scenes and characters and all those things, and the battle system and the whole balancing had to be perfect. So they kind of ignored a little bit the skybox stuff and the texture loading stuff, because, well, we can fix this later. The rest is more important. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure this is a very accurate assessment, or at least I hope so.
Yeah.
Because if this is just negligence, then no, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing that we're talking about is basically the general gameplay, so traversal and mini games. So I enjoyed traversal a lot, and I liked like going to different areas in the map and like going across those like hanging bars where you had to go like to get a different area and then open a door here, and then you go down, it opens up a new area, like a shortcut kind of thing.
Hmm.
I like that they added puzzles as well, like during traversal, sorry, traversal. And I thought there were a good amount of puzzles. Like I didn't feel like there were too many, and I didn't feel like they were super annoying. In some games, I just despise. Like I'm not a big puzzle game fan. I will do them in games that are like this, like RPGs and stuff like that, and I feel like okay, it's fine. But when there's too many, I just don't want to play it. Like it just makes me mad basically. This I felt like there was a happy medium. There was some, and what there were pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I said before, I always explore everywhere on a map because of those games where they have an achievement for like completing the area 100%, where you like, oh, you've explored everything, like where the fog of war is. So it had that, and my OCD annoyed me because I couldn't go to parts that were on the map that were grayed out whenever I wanted. And there was some areas, even in chapter 1 at the beginning, after the reactor part, and then you get to see the aftermath on top of the plate, there was parts of the map you couldn't even go to. But they had up like a mission marker there.
Yeah, right.
There was
the
a mission marker in
yeah.
an area where you couldn't go, and I was like, "Am I going crazy?" There's like after you meet Sephiroth and everything with Aerith, and then she runs down the alleyway, which she's gone. She just runs away. I'm like, where did she go? Like, there's nowhere to escape. She must have went down through the manhole or something, and now she's in the
or something like that. Yeah.
like she's not there anymore. Maybe she just disappeared. Anyway, so I ran down after her first. This like on my second playthrough, I'm just started another playthrough. I did it on hard, and I went down there, and you can't go there. There's a gate, and you just hear the officers talking. Oh, there's somebody on the loose, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so I can't go down there. Then I went back. I backtracked, but you can't go back. You can only go back so far. But it shows there's a marker there. You have to go there, and I'm like, I can't get there. So then I thought that I had missed something because I just continued through the story. But apparently, no, you just can't go there. And also, like I said before, the game just doesn't let you go wherever you want, and that's fine. Some parts I think that they could have allowed you to go through, you could go to earlier in the game, but just not have any story elements happen. Like you can't, obviously, when you go to if you go to the train graveyard in the beginning, because the gate's open, you can only go so far, and none of the story happens. But you can explore it, and you can see it. But it's not creepy either. It's just maybe daylight or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like in the original, you could even go there in the original. Just leave the train to the right.
I remember. Yes, but you could only go so far. Why not just do that? But there's enemies there, and maybe a couple items for actually that you're rewarded because you can explore, like that sort of thing. There wasn't any of that. It was just very much. Well, there was a little bit, but it was more like, oh, this gate. It's on the map. It's grayed out. The gate is closed. You can't go there.
Yeah, the thing with the train graveyard is because there are rumors going on that this is haunted, it's dangerous there.
Yes.
The neighborhood watch won't let you in. So from a lore perspective, story perspective, it makes sense. But from a gameplay perspective, of course, for us OCD completionists, it's aggravating. Yeah.
But it's just you go there later, so you get to clear all that anyway. But
yeah,
I think that them adding that is just an excuse for them to not have to do what I'm saying. Like, oh, we're going to add it into the lore, so they can't go there now because we're making a decision of not having it open like that. I think that's fine. That's their choice. But it did annoy me. And then when the game took over and told me I couldn't go where I wanted to go, I was pretty annoyed with that. We've all played games. I don't think they needed to do that. I don't think they needed to do that. We all play games. People play video games more now than what they ever did when we were kids. Come on, there's so many people that play video games now. It's such a big thing that I just feel like, hey, people know. Like, just leave us alone and let us do what we want to do.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it is still a game and not some alternate reality where you have to follow the story or something. So, but it's like there's a story and there is lore and everything, but parts of the gameplay just don't need to adhere to that because it diminishes your enjoyment of the game. Because at the end of the day, it's still a game. You should be free to do stuff. Or the world is ending in 7 days. Oh, let's go raise chocobos and let's go explore this cave. And let's go do this and that and that. 5 months later, okay, so we're too late. Game's over.
Imagine they did that, like how they do in Persona 5, where it's like you're on a calendar and you only have a certain amount of time before you can go to the dungeon. Imagine they're like, okay, guys, you got 7 days, and then you wait, and then you do everything in the whole game that you wanted to do, and then in the end, they're like, oh, you failed.
Oh, now Meteor comes. And
you failed. The game's over. You have to go.
Bad
do you want to go back a week from now? Do you think people would lose their minds?
Yeah, definitely. No, this is
I don't want to like talk about Persona 5, but I did not go back to it because of that whole thing. So please don't do that with Final Fantasy. But people enjoy that, but I don't.
I remembered the term. It's ludonarrative dissonance. The official term. Yeah. Ludonarrative is game narrative, and dissonance is it doesn't mesh together because, let's say, start of chapter 3, you're supposed to go back to Tifa's bar, and first it won't let you go to the train graveyard like in the original. Okay, so you have to go there. It funnels you through this pathway, and there's a short little part where it's kind of a little plaza, not at the train station, but further down.
Yeah.
Where there's another gate, and this is also
there's another gate
sealed off, and another gate on the other side that's sealed off.
And another gate on the other side. Yeah,
exactly.
And I was like, where can I go then?
Yeah, and then you go straight forward, follow Biggs, Jesse, and Wedge, and then it funnels you into this locked camera, and you can't go back because it says warning, you can't go back, and it's, that's...
When that area did open to do the side quest where I had to kill the Drake or whatever, the Cerulean Drake or whatever type of Drake that's in there, that's fine. It opened. So I went in there right away. Before I started that quest, I went in there anyway and cleared out the enemies and discovered things and went around because that's what I wanted to do, because that's what I love doing. Sure. And then there was a quest where I had to go fight a certain enemy there. That's fine. I still went back there. I went back there multiple times just to kind of grind and level up. Like,
yeah, that's
there wasn't
what we
really
gamers do.
Areas where you can grind either in the game. Like, there was some areas that you could do that, but in 15 there were a bunch of areas because it was like fake open world. But I didn't like 15 as much as I liked this game. But still, like, if that's what you wanted to do, it was like that was kind of taken away from you. If you wanted to do that, I feel like not really, but kind of. And that's how some people play Final Fantasy games, though. That's how they want to play them, and that's how they've always played them.
Yeah, exactly.
They've always farmed, they've always grinded, they've always done that.
Explored,
and now they can't do that because the game doesn't allow you to do that all the time, or as well as, like, previous installments of the game.
So, like, a little remedy for Chapter 3 at the beginning could be just let us walk everywhere where we wanted to. Just as long as we don't get too close to Tifa's bar, we can do whatever we want. Of course, all those other areas are closed off because it's not for now, it's for later. That's fine. But at least don't constrict us in this this tunnel, and even the camera, you can't really move the camera much around in a certain place. Like I think the last 20 meters or so before 7th Heaven, it was completely locked in. And this, I don't really understand why. It's not even, I don't know.
I agree.
Also, at the beginning of Sector 5 slums, where you follow Aerith, you can't go anywhere. The camera is locked. You have to follow her, and if you don't, she'll scream at you. And
and then that's when I was like, I remembered about the chakra materia in the church, and I was like, and then I tried to go back, and it wouldn't let me go back.
It doesn't work,
And then I was like, don't tell me that I missed something in this game, because I'm going to be pissed if I can't go back there and get it. Like, I mean, the original had stuff that you could miss, too.
Sure.
But I was still kind of like, okay, just let me go back. Just let me go back and see if it's open and I can go get it. Just let me go back. Like,
I understand that if you get close to an area where something happens, like listening to the news where Scarlet shows up, if you get close enough, then it should take control away from you. Maybe you can control the camera, but You don't really
Yes.
need to walk around because the game wants you to see the newscast, and let's then just make this a cutscene or something. It's not something that you need to or can skip or should be able to skip. Or even how was it? Oh, right. Aerith talks to the little restaurant keeper, shopkeeper, barkeeper, whatever, and a few meters further up, she talks to the kid. And if you're close there and it starts, then maybe you can only control the camera again, but not walk around, so that it forces you to witness
Yeah.
this part, because this is important. This
I
is
think that
character
that's
building for Aerith.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's
that's
fine. But
fine.
then if I choose if I choose oh crap, I forgot something back there, I should be able
Mhm.
to walk away from it.
Or at least afterwards, yeah, when the scene is done.
Exactly. Exactly.
And trigger the scene only when you're close to it. Like before that, Aerith just walks there and waits, and there's a quest marker so you
Yes,
don't
but you
miss it.
couldn't go back. You can't.
Yeah, but
You're
you should
locked
be
in.
still, yeah. I can understand that you can't go back all the way to the church, maybe, because, yeah, I maybe understand that, but that you're constricted to just the Sector 5 slums, but you're even on the path, you have to walk yourself,
Yeah.
but you can't do anything other than walk forward anyway,
Oh
so...
my god, it was like that too when the plate fell and they were trying to get out of there. And I know that people
Ah,
remember, and they were like, over here, over here. I
yeah,
know that it was burning and yes, whatever, but it was I thought there might be some chests or something just laying around that I
right,
could
yeah.
open. So I'm like, oh, can I go over here? Is there somebody over here that needs help? Like blah blah blah, whatever. It wouldn't let me do it. It wouldn't let me do
Mm,
it. It wouldn't let me do it. Like you couldn't
yeah.
go.
It's just too restrictive. A little bit opener, a little bit more agency would be nice.
So closer to the end of the game as well, there's a lot of this whole crawl. Well, it's throughout the game, but it's just this crawl through or crawl, not crawl, but it's just okay, we're gonna have to shimmy through
Yeah,
pieces of brick
squeeze through
or
bricks
whatever.
and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Come on. That's like a mid 2000 game mechanic, and I'm just so done with it. Honestly, I know that it's the whole cinematography thing when the camera goes through the thing, and you're like, ooh, what's on the other side of that? But
Yeah.
I just don't. Okay, you can put a few of them in, but that's it. Please, that's my opinion.
Sometimes
It
it's
was
just too long.
annoying. It
Yeah,
was
too long sometimes. Yeah.
annoying. Oh my god, it was so annoying. Or go under this piece of rubble. Okay, that's fine. I understand. The plate fell. I have to go under the piece of rubble, and that's the way that the slums are because with everything that happened as well.
Mm,
There's junk everywhere, right? So
definitely, yeah.
I get that. That's fine. I just thought it was too much, and I just think that that game mechanic needs to go away now.
Yeah. The thing is, though, in PS4 era, still loading is a huge issue. So I heard from many people that this is just a way to mask loading, because
Well, in
sometimes,
PS5,
yeah,
hopefully they get rid of that because
yeah,
that's just annoying. It's like you're making it annoying for
definitely.
me. I have to crawl through this thing.
Yeah, this is a huge feature of the PS5 anyway. That loading will probably be a nothing burger anymore. It's just nothing.
Yeah.
It's just a sack of rice fell down in China, and that's how important loading is, then, so to speak.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought of it
Yeah.
that way, I guess, because I just thought that they put it there because they wanted you to feel like you're crawling through this thing, and the cinematography where the camera pulls in is ooh, okay, I remember seeing that for the first time on the PS3, I think, or PS2. It was like the original God of War game, something, and you're like, oh my god, that's so cool. It's like they still do it, and I'm like, no, just take it away. Just, no, please.
On the last Sacred Symbols podcast I listened to, they exactly one person wrote in, and they answered to this person exactly because of this aggravating and long shimming and squeezing between tight spaces in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they also said, TLDR, each time a game makes you go through something slow or aggravating or something that you feel this just doesn't need to be there, or slow walking force. It's not punished, it's just loading issues. The next area needs to load. Otherwise, if you're just running there, it probably won't load as fast or something. it's yes, you could bring the argument that open world games do it too, but open world games are designed completely differently. There's so much reusage of assets everywhere, and it's a constant streaming. And here you can design the areas completely differently. And yeah, I'm not that tech savvy, but I can agree that mostly it's because of loading issues. Mostly, not because if you design it that way that the characters have to slowly walk through that or slowly squeeze through that for seconds on at once or something, it's just no fun at all. So I don't know why else you would do that other than technical limitations and loading stuff. So yeah.
I think that if they had to do it, I think that it can be done better with something else instead
Maybe,
of,
I don't know.
I don't know what, but it is annoying, and there's a lot of it. And some parts I was pretty annoyed that it was so slow. Like,
yeah, same. Even when you return to the church, when Kyrie is in there, within the church you can't run. You have to walk slowly.
oh my god,
to
so annoying!
Why?
So
Why?
annoying! Yeah, so annoying.
Didn't understand that.
There's another part when you're in the church as well. Like, I went back to the church at one point. I forget. Like, it was before the door was closed, but you could still go back. Oh, I went back when I was going on the rooftops, but
Oh, right. Yeah,
I went back
went
again because I was like,
yeah.
oh crap, maybe I forgot a chest in the attic of the church or whatever. So every time I went back, same. It would
extremely slow.
Slow motion. Like, I couldn't just run across the beam. You have to walk so slowly, and I'm like, wait, there's nothing here. I did this for no reason.
Yeah, same.
That's why my gameplay time was 65 hours.
Yeah, that's probably contributed to mine too. That and looking around the place everywhere.
Oh my god.
But yeah.
I just wanted to go on to the next thing as well, going into a vent. Okay, so the vent, I understand this is in the original, but oh my god, the moving...
It's too slow.
Moving inside of a vent was so slow.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm going to turn to the left. It shows on the map that you can't go all the way down there, but I'm still going to go there because I'm hoping there's some item there or something like that. And at one point there was some kind of like an independent materia that was just there.
Yep. I think HP plus?
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, I was like, well, I'm glad I looked and I went over there, but the only way to go back then to go the other way is so slow because you go backwards and then you kind of you back up like a car backs up into this part, and then you got to press forward, and oh my god, it was so annoying, dude. I was like, oh, and Tifa's supposedly behind you, I think. And then at one point, she's invisible and she's like on top of me. And I'm like, oh, God. Oh, God, Tifa's inside of me.
Oh, boy.
That can be taken very differently. But anyway, so it's just like, I was like, oh, God. Oh, God, Tifa. Oh, dear. I'm sorry for. Also, she's got a great angle. She's right behind my butt. Anyway.
Yeah, and right behind the Buster Sword, which is very dangerous.
Exactly.
Also, have you seen this this meme image with you see the vent from outside and just Cloud's Buster Sword slicing through the one side of the vent?
No, I haven't seen that.
It was a screenshot from the trailer where you see Cloud like crouching through the vent, and the next screen was from outside, and the Buster Sword just cleaving through the left side.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
That's really funny, yeah.
I did have a thought, though, when they were standing there trying and thinking about going in, and they had that little conversation. I did think, like, how is he going to fit in there with that Buster Sword?
It's a big
And then
vent.
he just, like, jumps up, and I guess the entrance is, like, way up high or something because he jumps up and then he's just there.
It's in the ceiling, yeah.
It's so ridiculous. But
it is.
Okay, so Square Enix, please, if you're listening, just Spider-Man PS4 had really, really good vent gameplay traversal. Okay, I know I keep bringing it up, but it's true. The vents are more open and you can go where you want, and it's not like I know that Spider-Man's like a superhero and he can like crawl and he's fast and stuff, but it's just more enjoyable. And yes, there's items up there and stuff, but still, come on. Like, come on.
Cloud is kind of a superhero too, if you think about it. Infused with Mako and Genoa cells, come on, he can crawl faster through the vent.
The thing is like, I'm assuming here's us justifying their choices again. Oh, but
probably. Yeah.
Here's a reason why, okay? So, they don't want Shinra to be able to hear them moving around above them in the vents, because then they'll be found out and be taken in. It's like, that's not even true, because you're out. You're literally out in Shinra Tower walking around talking to NPCs, and they all know that you're already there anyway.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do?
You were on the news in Chapter 7, seriously.
Exactly. And then the people that you're just talking to people, they're just talking to you. They don't know that you're a terrorist, a so-called terrorist, and they don't call to report you. And you're just in the Shinra Tower, like, hanging out. Like, why aren't people calling for more troops to come and try to attack you or take you away? Anyway,
especially when you're searching for the contact with the mayor. I don't know what you talk to everyone, like, directly, not just walking by. It's loot the narrative dissonance again. Or just bad design. I don't know, it's ridiculous. There's so many instances which just don't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. But you can make up excuses for...
Yeah, you could.
Like, to justify it. But, yeah. So I thought not having a jump button was fine, but I think that the aerial combat needs to be improved a lot. But obviously we'll talk about this in the next section, which is battles. I thought that the Tifa traversal part in Shinra Tower was really cool. Did you like that part? Cool. Yeah. It was so short.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other traversal part with Tifa where you can actually do that again, right? There's no other part.
No. There's a small part with Cloud, but that one's just aggravating.
I thought it was
the camera.
Awesome. I was like, yes, this is great. And then you get the chest and it's another weapon for her. And I'm like, this is purple so awesome. Yeah, purple paint. Woo! I was like,
and the true strike ability it brings with is awesome.
Oh, it's so
true
good.
Strike it's
But then it's gone and you don't do it again. And I'm like, that was fun, but why? It was so short. Like, come on, they could have done more. Anyway. Man, screw that Tifa pull-up minigame. Screw you, Jules. Screw you, Jules. Oh my god, dude. There were so many times when I literally got 44 pull-ups and it was the same amount. And you just fail. Yeah. Because you have to have more. You can't have the same. Mm-hmm. And then I'd do it a bunch of times, but then I would psych myself out and I'd hit a button by accident. Yeah. And then she falls, she's like, she just like falls down and I'm like, ugh. And then Jules falls off at the same time, like every single time you try to play it. And then you're like, yes, you're going. And then I just kept losing and I was like, oh my God, I'm so mad. I was so mad, dude. And that was my whole gameplay session for one day. Was just I played for like 2 hours, I think, and that's what I did.
Oh boy,
because I couldn't beat it, and I was like, I gotta stop. I'm gonna do something that I regret.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, and his stupid face. Oh my god, I hate his face. Ugh.
I like him as a character, but his face is so weird.
What is going on with his face? It looks like he's got so much Botox.
Yeah,
and his eyebrows.
Botox and facelifts.
It's like, listen, stop tweezing your eyebrows, Jules. Okay? His eyebrows are literally so thin and like, it looks like he's going fast on a roller coaster. Like his face is just like pulled back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, as I said, too many facelifts. It's strange.
I loved the darts. I loved the whack-a-box minigame. I beat the darts in 2 tries. Like, I just did it right away. The second try, I just got it. I enjoyed it. I thought that the controls were intuitive.
Oh, same, yeah.
I felt like, I guess that they would be, up to the quality that the other minigames were in the original. I guess we'll see, because this in the original Final Fantasy VII, like there's what mini games do we have? I know we have the bike chase.
Once.
Once. And
Well,
what other mini
twice,
games do we have?
because in the gold saucer we have everything in the gold saucer again. So
Yeah, that's coming, but I mean like in the original, only the Midgar portion of the original. Like
we have this one.
I can't remember now,
that's
but
it.
not very many.
Yeah, the squats minigame, of course.
Oh yeah, the squats minigame. Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah.
other than that, squats and G-bike and
I think that's
anything
it.
else. Yeah, well, I do think the barrel minigame counts as one, where you have to choose which ones to throw down to save
Right.
Aerith from the Shinra grunts.
I forget.
I think that one should also constitute as a small minigame. Yeah, kind of like the Robo Hands in this game, just a little bit more elaborate. But
okay, so I thought
yeah.
the bike mini games were good. I love the ending chase of this game. It's very good. I thought it was good. It was annoying, but it was good, and I thought that the graphics were awesome. And I was like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
I'm escaping Midgard, woo! And I'm like going and like I'm just slashing the crap out of this thing, and I like learned its
Mhm.
attack pattern. So I died once, and then I learned it, and I like redid it again. And I was like, no, I'm gonna do it again. And then I beat it, and it was so satisfying. I was like, yes, it was really awesome. And the other bike chase mini game as well with Roche,
Mhm.
I thought was a little annoying because he shoots like lightning and it's
Mhm.
really hard to dodge. I dodged as much as I could. They did reuse the lightning dodge thing though. You notice that in the final, but it was little lightning
A
things
little
that were
bit,
on the ground.
yeah.
Anyway, so I enjoyed that as well. I enjoyed that scene. There was something else that I wanted to add, but I forget now.
Oh, you can add it later.
No, what did you say before this that I started talking about this? You're talking about something else. I forget.
You meant the right, the robot hand minigame.
Yes. Okay. So the robot hand, I actually didn't mind it that much, and I appreciated it because we saw those things in the original, but they were just there.
Yeah, just
And
one that
now,
was there and finished.
yeah, exactly. And now it's like it has a purpose, and you're like, oh, cool. And then that's when Aerith has like she's tied to a command. That's what the circle command was. Because remember, you're like, circle doesn't do anything. I'm like, oh, it does. It tells her to go here or there, whatever. And she's on, and I'm just like swinging it around, and she's like, and I'm like, oh god, like is she gonna fall off or something? Like what's gonna happen? Anyway, but the game does a good job of telling you like, oh, it's probably not supposed to go over there. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was okay, but it was a little annoying.
Yeah, same. I like the concept. It's really neat puzzle minigame, especially because you can get 2 materia out of it.
Yes.
But it was a little bit too slow. So this whole section went on for too long.
That's true. Yeah,
but
that's true.
Generally, I like that part. It's pretty cool. It also developed the relationship between Cloud and Aerith really well, and showed that Cloud is such an adorable, awkward 16-year-old at heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was kind of in a coma for 5 years, so to speak. Not really coma, but didn't have any development at all in 5 years. So he's just a teenager, an awkward teenager who didn't really achieve anything. So it shows.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Remember the part when the bandits like try to steal your? Oh my god, that was so awesome! I was like, yes.
It was, and you beat him, and then they play dead, and even tell you that they play dead, and then you can walk over him, and then
It was so good, and I thought the music was really good because it's like I forget
it's the oppressed.
Yeah,
the
but
oppressed
it's like
from the original. Yeah,
it's like
a drum bass rendition or something.
Yes,
or
it's like D&B, like dance music. They redid
something like
it.
that. Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I like, let's say, half of the track, and some instruments that come in halfway through just I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way.
Weird.
Yeah, The first half I think is really good, and then the second
Mm-hmm.
half is kind of like, and then it just cycles, but it repeats a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
And then
it
I was
does.
annoyed with it. I think that's the point where I paused the game to go make food too in one
Oh, I
part, and I
see. Okay. Oh,
kept
yeah.
playing, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to shut this off. Like, but I do like that they made like EDM versions of the songs. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. They went all out in the music department, but that's a later section here in
Yeah.
this this talk.
So, what did you think about the general gameplay?
Oh, yeah. So, well, we talked about much of it already, but yeah, I felt it was very linear most of the time, unless we were in one of the slums or in one of the few areas, few dungeons. Like the chapter 6 was in theory linear, but still you could go back and forth, and
Hmm.
there were optional areas and stuff that was pretty cool. So, but on the other hand, in chapter 5, when you had to run along the rails, it was really just run along the rails. And if you
Yeah.
walk backwards, warning sign comes on, and T front Barrett says, "Where are you going?
Yeah.
Stamps this way," and stuff like that. It's okay, fine. I just wanted to see if there's a grinding spot like in the original.
Yeah, exactly. And I did the same thing where I accidentally walked too far forward because I was like, I wanted to go
All right.
back. And then a cutscene started, and then the boss battle started for that area
Ah,
down there. And I forget
right,
what it
right,
is. You're
right.
you're fighting some kind of an old antique like version of one of the original battle things, enemies that you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about when you're following they have like the stamp spray painted on the walls, and then you're finding them like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
underneath. You're finding them in the train tracks, right? And you're like going and you're finding them and stuff. But the boss at the end of the train tracks there when you go there, I forget what it's
Right,
called.
right. The crab warden.
Yes, that's it. That's it. That I
Mhm.
just walked into that boss battle too soon. And then there were areas that I didn't get to explore right
Oh,
before
crap.
it. And I was like, ugh, like I was really annoyed. And then you can't go back. You can't go
Yeah,
back
that's
because
true.
guess what? It's like a mini cutscene after at the end when it destroys and it hits a bunch of those
Hmm.
storage containers and they fly around. And then when the boss battle's done,
You
you
can't go
just
back anymore. Yeah.
you can only go forward because you're trapped in a bunch
Hmm.
of those storage containers
Yeah, exactly.
and you have to go forward. And I'm like my OCD just
Yeah,
like shot through the roof. I'm like, I probably missed
yeah.
something.
It's a little bit annoying that you can't go back practically anywhere. It's just one-way street, practically all the way through. At some point you can go back a little, but mostly it's doesn't do much anyway. But yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad because the original Midgar was also very, very
Yes.
linear.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
not
Yes.
too bad. We already talked about the soft barriers and the
Mm-hmm.
camera stuff. And
Yeah.
also, I don't think it was a huge talk before the game came out and in the demo that many people missed a jump button, but I don't. I
Yeah.
think this would be unnecessary. Yeah, like another button that does something that usually doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Of course, in
Exactly.
Kingdom Hearts, you had a lot of platforming, you had a lot of aerial battles, and this is just not the game to do that with. So I'm completely fine with it. The
Yeah.
original didn't have it either. The jumps were predetermined points, like here too.
Yeah.
But what I didn't like, I think I also noted that in the previous episode that most of those interaction points, or all of them, they initiate automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Besides, when you have to hold down triangle for opening a door or pulling a switch, that's another thing. But usually, you just walk against the ladder, walk against a narrow corridor, and you squeeze through, or you use the ladder. I would have preferred that you have to initiate everything with a simple press of triangle,
I
because then you're in
agree.
control.
I agree. Why do I have to hold triangle? Why does
Well,
that matter?
that too. Yeah, I don't know really.
Why not just press it? Why not just press it? Who cares about holding it for 3 seconds? That does nothing. Oh, because
Yeah,
it's a switch that opens a heavier door? Who
I don't know.
cares? I'm not opening it with my bare hands.
But maybe that's also another loading issue because usually when you open a door with that, like holding down initiates, and when it's done, then actually it opens the door fully or opens something else, and then it's loaded behind. So
Oh
it
my
needs those
god.
2 or 3 seconds to load. I don't know.
Come on,
But
PS5.
yeah, but this is only one thing. The other thing is when you want to go up or down a ladder. Um, Sometimes I didn't want to go down the ladder, but I was just too close, and he went down anyway, and
Yeah,
had to go up again. So I
yeah,
want those to be initiated by pressing triangle as well. That you can
yeah.
say, now I want to go up. Now I want to start shimming through there. Now I want to crouch underneath there, not just go. Sometimes it's a bit like, let's say in chapter 18 in the singularity. While still inside of the battle, between the battles, you have to run through debris and jump over gaps. Those are good that they're automatically initiated, because if you have to run against the edge and then press triangle, it's just it doesn't feel smooth. That one's good. But usually when you're just exploring, those things should be initiated with a button press and not automatically, because it feels kind of cheap and out of control, kind of. But that's just my own opinion, and it's not that much of an issue. But it's something I would wish that the second game would, or the next game would, address in some way.
You know what? I just thought of something. Okay,
Hmm.
so remember the gameplay we're playing with Barrett because you
Yep.
fall and then it's just
Yes.
you're playing with Barrett. The game wants you to use his gun to blow up the environment so you can go through
Hmm.
something. Why not just have that instead of going to something and shimmying through something? Why not? Oh, okay, Barrett, now you gotta shoot this piece of rock so that the gap goes bigger so we could just walk through it. And that would be more exciting to me, and it would take still 5 seconds than shimmying through something.
That's true.
Or
You actually do something, yeah.
or you could use, even when Barrett's not with the party and you always have Cloud and you always have magic and spells and you always have your sword. Why not be able to slash it a bunch with the sword and slash it and it explodes, or it goes out of the way and clears your path or something, and the game's loading while you're doing it? Like, something is more exciting than just shimmying
That's true, yeah.
past something. Even you could use fire, or like, because it's pretty much an explosion. Or why not throw a grenade at it? You have grenades in your inventory. Why
Yeah.
not throw a grenade at it or something? Like, I feel like there's so many other ways that they could get past just shimmying through something, and that's super annoying. I just came up with that in my head when you were talking
Okay, yeah.
about, they already
It's
have the gameplay mechanic in there because they already have Barrett, that part of the game when you're shooting the rock to get past
Mhm.
it. It's already built into the game.
Definitely, yeah. But what was also annoying, I loved shooting down all the boxes with Barrett. Sometimes his aim was way off, but then
Yes.
you can go down there with Cloud again, and Cloud just can't reach him. It's just I want to kill those boxes again, but Cloud can't do it.
Yeah, the boxes respawn for some reason because I went
Yeah.
back, I backtracked with Barrett before I left that area,
Oh,
and
that too. Okay.
all the boxes respawned, and I shot them all, and I never got anything. So I guess
No.
when you get the original item out of them, they don't respawn new items inside. The boxes are just empty. I don't know.
Sometimes they do. In the demo, people manage to make the boxes respawn and get 99 potions, 99 Moogle medals and stuff
Oh,
just by
really?
going back and forth. Yeah.
Oh. Maybe I should have
Sometimes,
left it and went outside and then went back in, but I didn't go outside. I
yeah,
just went upstairs and then I went back down and shot them
yeah. I
again. But
I don't really know what causes the respawn of the random items. I don't know. There were several levels that had a layout change after a certain point. One that just comes to mind is the sewers. When you go there a second time, everything is different because parts of it is completely crumbled down, which means you have to take another route, which is good because just running down the same path again is boring. And I think there were others. Oh, right. Another one is in chapter 2 when you were supposed to go over the debris and climb up the fire escape. Well, the debris crashes down, and then you have to take another route. Or when you're almost at the station, the highway breaks off and completely blocks you off from going there, and then you have to go all around the buildings. I'm not quite sure if this was just, I don't know, on accident or by accident or just bad luck for Cloud, or that Sephiroth had kind of something to do with this, because he did then funnel you through a few alleyways. So in the hopes that as a first for Cloud to remember him, and second in hopes that he misses Aerith there, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Because of course they intervened the Whispers, but that's for later. But yeah, I find this pretty cool that it's kind of a good way to subvert expectation. You think, oh, that's why I need to go, and then something happens. Okay, now I need to find another way, which makes sense in chapter 2, because everything is still unstable and can break down at any moment. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I found pretty nice. At some levels, had a few changes when you revisited them, or while you were in there. That's pretty cool. Then the mini games. You already talked about this, and I'm pretty much in agreement. My personal favorite is darts, because it's such a small mini game that's just no complication, no nothing. You just can relax and try to focus and get a good score. It's pretty cool. And also, at first you don't have that many tracks for the jukebox, so it starts getting annoying. But at least you do have, I think, 4 or 5 tracks at this point. I think I switched it to the prelude while throwing darts. It was pretty nice. One thing though that was annoying is that since the jukebox is to the left, and when you have headphones on, you only hear the music on the left side, and the right side is just completely silent. It's a little weird. But yeah, other than that, the darts is really good.
I just want to add something, because we didn't talk about the jukeboxes, right? Like,
right, true. We completely went over that. Yeah,
that's okay, because we're going to think about things as we're talking about them. Obviously,
true, yeah.
Some of the areas with I guess some areas that had the music discs, like, they were playing the music that, like, from the disc that you end up getting.
Yep.
It's playing in that area. I thought it was annoying going back to those areas and hearing it again. And sometimes if I'm in a menu and that's all I'm hearing on repeat, I think that they should have put an options in the menu or something like that, where you could just turn it off. Or if you don't want it to play any music, it doesn't have to. Like, and once you get that disc from that person, it doesn't play.
Exactly, that was my suggestion too.
Yeah, why is it still playing? The person gave me the disc or gave me the song, and why is it still playing whenever I walk through that area all the time? I don't want to hear it all the time. I've got it, and if I want to hear it, I have it. Now I can listen to it if I want to. I have it. I don't want to be forced to listen to it, because maybe I don't like that song. Great, you gave me the option to listen to it, but I don't
especially
want
next to the Moogle. Especially next to the Moogle, this
oh my god,
stupid gold sauce theme, seriously.
So annoying. And also, in that small area, you can't run.
Nope.
They force you to slow walk.
Yep.
And when you walk up to the Moogle person, the little Moogle kid, it's slow motion. And then you're forced to listen to it. And I'm like, oh my god, I just want to get so far away from it. Even though, yes, it's a good rendition of the song, and we have the disc.
It is. And the first 30 seconds are awesome.
You gave me the song.
Yeah.
Why is it still playing? You gave it to me.
It's aggravating sometimes.
Because you also have a copy? Like,
yeah, probably.
Why is it still playing? Stop playing it. You gave it to me. And then, if I want to play it, I have the option to play it. I don't want to hear it all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was louder than the NPC that was talking.
Yeah.
I couldn't even hear the shopkeeper because of the friggin' song. It's just like blaring next to me when I'm standing there.
Yeah, especially in Sector 5 when this beautiful instrumental version of Hollow is playing, and then you walk by one of the shopkeepers and it plays Costa del Sol, and then, no, please, just turn it off. That's true, yeah. That's true, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
See, there, you understand exactly.
Yeah.
I did it for literally 5 seconds, and now all y'all are annoyed, and you're gonna unsubscribe.
Yeah, unsubscribe and delete the podcast. Now we get banned because all of the complaints.
Copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
boy,
anyway,
no.
I just wanted to mention that.
It's good. That's good. Yeah. But I must say, most of the jukebox songs are really, really good.
Oh yeah.
Besides this, the hip hop, the chocobo. No, please, just get away with this.
Yeah, I know. The Tifa's theme, though.
Oh, this one is just beautiful.
And it created a moment too, because you walk in and you hear it,
Yeah,
and then you're like,
exactly.
"Oh, I get this disc for the any jukebox. This is awesome, so I can listen to it." Okay, that's great. I loved that moment. And then when you're playing darts, you can listen to it or whatever. Like you said, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I love that.
By the way, did you notice that the first one you hear is just after leaving the train station in this plaza with the food stalls, and one had Barrett's theme playing in like the country song rendition or something like that. It's pretty cool. Right at the beginning, you can't hear it at the start, but if you keep listening, the melody of his theme is audible. It's really nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, what I noticed, most of those discs were really well placed. For example, Descendant of Shinobi, Yuffie's theme plays exactly at the spot where later Johnny gets his wallet stolen. Yuffie steals materia, so it fits.
Exactly.
So many locations of jukebox songs fit extremely well. Also, the Let the Battles Begin version, right before you fight the ghosts in the train graveyard, that one's pretty cool too. And Fight On, the boss battle music, which you get in the Colosseum, which is also full of battles, and Fight On makes really sense. So it's really cool. It's really cool.
There was one side mission though where you had to get the discs because the little girl, I forget her name.
Oh yeah, Betty.
Betty. She asks you to do it, and you're like, yeah, absolutely. So then there's like 4 people standing next to her with quest markers above their heads, and I found 2 out of 4 of the discs, and I went back to the people and I talked to them. And they were like, oh, they just said the same thing. And I'm like, why do they have markers above their head? I'm trying to give them the song or whatever. I didn't even know that I had to give them back to Betty. I just thought that it was just going to do it automatically.
No. At first, I thought we have to find out which song it was. And then I just
that's
played
what I thought
one.
Too.
I just went through the whole playlist and she said always the same. And,
Yeah, and I went to the jukebox too because I went to the jukebox to maybe play the song because I had to play it or something like that, but it wasn't there. But it was because I had to talk to Betty and I didn't see her there because she's so short. And then I didn't see her and I was just like looking around. I'm like, what am I supposed to do for this side quest, man? Like I've got these discs. I don't know what to do. Anyway.
Yeah, the problem is you need to have the specific songs, and some of them you don't have yet. And if you have them, they do show a quest marker in the song selection list, so you know which one to pick.
Yes.
At least that, but
I
you
noticed
need to
that
find
after.
the songs first. Yeah, me too. At first I went through, I don't know, maybe 10 or so songs until I gave up and said, no, not anymore. I don't want to hear talk again, Betty. Just stop.
Exactly. And the people puking in the bathroom, I'm like, why are there so many sick people in this town?
Exactly.
The people in the alleyways, too, blocking the chests. I couldn't even get through. I was just like...
this was aggravating.
They're just like, you, I'm going to let you go. And I'm like, excuse me? You don't know who you're dealing with. Like, I just want to slash their faces off so I can get back there. But, oh, no, you're not allowed to go back there because you have to wait because you're not allowed to have those 2 bottles of ether.
Yeah, exactly. That for later only. in chapter
Exactly.
14.
Until later. You can't have them now. You cannot
Yeah.
have them now.
Yeah, it's weird. Some choices are really weird, but I don't know. Maybe this is the charm of Final Fantasy VII, just weirdness. I know.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's
Also,
true.
the broken computer in this item shop or whatever that was, just right near the
Yeah.
exit or the south entrance.
Yeah.
I really loved its inclusion. It's there in the original. It doesn't make any sense. At least you could go back there and Sid fixes it, and then you get the premium heart, Tifa's last weapon or final
Yes, I
weapon.
thought that was we were going to be able to fix it and use it like
Same, yeah.
at some point, but you can't.
Nothing. No,
It's
it's
just
just
there.
yeah. It's there in the night and it's broken, and by day it's just closed. Ugh,
Yeah.
fine. It's just there for nostalgia.
It would have been cool though if they could fix it. I know that it's just even if it's not Sid that fixes it and you don't get the weapon, like it would just be something else. Like, do you know what I mean? They could have done
Yeah.
something with it.
It was little bit disappointed, but oh well.
Yeah, no,
Maybe
it's
in the
okay.
last part when we go back to Midgar, we
Yeah,
are able to maybe
maybe.
sneak into some sectors or something and just look how everything is going there. I don't know, but I don't think I probably not.
Yeah, probably
I
not.
know,
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
not.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we were still at the mini games.
Yeah.
Tangent. But yeah, like you, I love the G-Bike sections. I was kind of hoping for more of them, like a recurring minigame like the um, gummy ship missions in Kingdom Hearts or something like that, where you had the ability to go through multiple times, even have missions, time attack, whatever. It would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, alas. At least twice. Like first time to kind of get to know the mechanics and what was possible and what was there and what you could expect. And Roche was pretty dope fight. And then at the end, it was like the same but more epic.
Yes,
But
exactly.
I must say, in the escape from Shinra HQ, it was the enemies had so much health. It was just whacking and whacking and whacking and whacking. I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
it went on for little bit too long,
it
in my
did.
opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you talking about the last, like the escape?
yeah. That's the second one. Yeah, the first one was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. The second one, it's like you had to attack it so that the stagger bar would go
Yeah,
up,
exactly.
right? And
Yeah,
then it went like really high, and then it would like diminish slower the more like pressured it is or whatever it is. But we're gonna talk about characters after, like obviously like Roche or whatever as a character too. Like maybe it was Roche driving the thing. Like who knows?
maybe. But no, it did look like an autonomous weapon. So,
Like a
but yeah,
robot, yeah.
yeah. But the thing is also it had its behavior cycle, like it was doing the same thing over and
That's
over,
true.
the
Yeah.
same cycle, and you had to go through it like 4 or 5 times. It was just too much, like too long. It was just repeat and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And I think I died the first time. It had like a
Yeah.
millimeter of
Yeah,
life
same.
left, and then I died. And now, come on, please, not everything again. At
Yeah,
least
guess
you
what?
could.
That was me too, but I drove
Yeah.
into one of the electric things on the ground.
Uh, yeah, same. But I also completely forgot to block. So when he would started the machine gun, firing a machine gun at me, I just constantly lost life. And at the end, I accidentally was too close when he
Use
shot
the
off his
flame.
beam.
Oh,
Not the
okay.
flame, the beam.
Okay.
Just on one side, and this takes off quite a lot of health, and I died. And yeah,
Yeah, also though you need like the camera angle
yeah, the camera
changes
too. Yeah.
so you can
Hmm.
look, so you're looking at the wheels because you're attacking the wheels, right? So it's like
Mm.
the camera kind of goes down and angled diagonally like upwards, so you're not looking forward to see if there's any electrical things coming in the
No.
distance or whatever. Like I was just attacking it and then I drove
Yeah.
into an electrical thing and died, so
Also, when the camera changes, the control changes too. So it's to actually getting close to the wheels was sometimes first a little bit of a slog because even if you accelerate, you're not really getting any faster much. So it didn't really feel good. It felt like it's getting closer, getting closer. Okay, now slash, slash,
Yeah,
slash.
exactly.
Okay, brake again to go away because it stamps down with the wheels, and then rinse and repeat, and just didn't really feel that fluid, I must say.
I loved it though. I just loved the part, and I loved having everybody else in that little tiny truck thing.
Yeah, of course, that is hilarious. Yeah.
It's so good. I was just like, yes.
It's good, yeah.
And then Red just like gave you HP, like in between.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh,
thank you.
yeah. He's like, I think you need this or something like that, and I'm
something
just
like that,
yes, yes, I do.
Yes,
Red.
I need this. Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, I think the second time when I beat Motorball, took me 7.5 minutes or something like that. It's, in my opinion, if you know what you're doing, it's too long for just a portion of the whole escape. It was epic and I really liked it, but it's half the health for all of the enemies would have been enough, I think. But yeah, enough of this. Yeah. Let's go back to the pull-ups.
It would have been cool for it to have different attacks than just what it had. Like, what about different phases? It transformed its wheels inside of itself and then it like propelled and started flying or something.
I know.
And then Cloud is like on his bike, but he's got to like jump off of it to attack it in the air. I don't know. It just could have been a little bit more interesting.
Just switch up the moveset a little bit because it's just the same cycle over and over and over.
Because you're like slash on the right, slash on the left, press the brake, the flame thing, zoom in again, slash. Like
yeah, it's the same. Didn't have any phases like the other.
Yeah, and you couldn't use magic on it.
Nope.
Right, you couldn't use any of your special attacks. You just have this one triangle attack that you can use.
Yeah. Which takes ages to load.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next, squats and pull-ups. I really like the squats. I botched it a little bit against the second one, but other than that, I think it's really solid. It's pretty good. You just have to look at Cloud's animation and then just keep going at the same pace and don't get too cocky and then it will go fine. But yeah, the pull-ups, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
You hated them, understandably so.
No, I enjoyed it. I just hated how it was so ridiculous.
Yeah,
and also I read a bunch of other things like talking about like online people being like, oh, like screw you, Jules, like I beat you finally, blah, blah, blah. It took me hours and hours, and I was just like, what? It's not that hard. Come on. Like I beat the other difficulties and I'm doing it, and then it was so much harder, and I'm like, okay, I know like what these people are talking about, but it's just that last one was annoying, and just Jules, how he looked, and he was just like just so smug looking with his little eyebrows, and I was like, ugh.
The thing is, what I noticed is you just need concentration.
Yes.
If you don't have concentration, you're screwed completely. And
also, I was nervous though, so my fingers were kind of trembling a little. And
right.
Oh god, I accidentally hit another button and I didn't mean to. Yeah. And then she's like, and she just falls off. I'm like, ugh. And then when you get back on, it has to speed up again. Like you have to get back into it where it speeds up. It's slow. It's not like you get on. It's like psh, 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 like it's like psh, like it's so slow, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so gonna lose. Oh, sometimes I would actually just press pause, and then it would go retry. I wouldn't even let it end. I would just be like, oh no, I gotta redo it because I know I'm gonna lose.
Yeah, that's what I did with darts, because when I noticed, okay, I'm 6 darts in, and I can't beat it with the next shot, so okay, restart.
Yeah, but then the load-in time is longer than it would have been just for you to feel it.
Maybe. But yeah, now the pull-ups, I messed up a few times, but I think it was about the same as the squats. I lost 2 times against Jules and succeeded the third time. because I was just tunnel vision focused. I didn't say a word. I just looked at Tifa's movements and the first few times or the first few cycles, it shows you the button layout and the order of the buttons you have to press, and then I just internalized them in my mind and like the kind of burned the movement of my thumb into my brain. Yeah. So then I could just keep this going in the movements along the movements of Tifa, and then it worked out beautifully.
Yeah, but then sometimes she gets exhausted and you have to press the same button like six times, I think. But I didn't know how many. Like, I would just do it and then it would just quickly go to the next one. But then I would accidentally press one too many times.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's 6 times. And then then she would fall and I'm like, I'm so mad right now.
Yeah.
I'm so mad.
That has happened to me too once or twice. And then I noticed how long I didn't really count how many times you have to press it.
Same.
I just press it and look at the circle, the segment thingy, until it's full, and then just release and keep going. It's if you just keep concentration and don't pay attention to anything around you and anything in the big game, then it works out. Otherwise, it's hell.
Well, not everybody is as good as you at playing pull-ups. Okay, Vyzz.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I'm really good. I was really good at Guitar Hero and other rhythm games. Maybe some of you guys listening remember Guitaroo Man on the PS2.
Oh my god!
This was also like a button, button masher rhythm game. I loved it. It was, but on hard difficulty, it was really hard at times. But I went through it, and I think this experience was a big advantage for me for this one here.
So who knew, right? Who knew? Like all those years playing that game was really secretly preparing you for the pull-up minigame in the remake.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Also, Whack-A-Box, in theory, it's a really cool game, but it's so easy to miss with certain attacks, and if you don't have the right weapon equipped and use the right attacks, because you can only use the attack assigned to the equipped weapon. You can't use everything, so we have to be conscious about which weapon to equip. I started off with the nail bat. This is just not a good choice. No. It's
I did one round with the nail bat, and I agree. I did it one time with the nail bat and was like, I can't use this weapon. I can use any other weapon. And then I wasn't sure if you had to do it with the nail bat, because the kid just gave you the nail bat. So
that's
I'm like,
true,
I thought I had to use it, but you don't. You can use any weapon. And I used, I think, ATB assist or something, and I used something else. So it was like, first strike or something. So I had full ATB when you go into
at start. Yeah, right.
And then I could use Braver twice on the two 1500 ones that are there to block, that were blocking you. Yeah, and then I would go around and get the extra time ones first, and then I would try to do the super large ones, and then but yeah, no, same thing with me. I used the nail bat and I was like, okay, this is not gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. And then I stopped playing because the episode was through anyway, because I tried not to go over 1 hour per episode. And then I would talk to my roommate, and he just told me, use triple slash. That's all you need. And then I used triple slash, and it went much better.
Oh.
Yeah, I use Braver also, because you can use Braver anyway.
Yeah.
Braver and the one assigned to the weapon.
Yeah.
So, and triple slash is pretty good.
I didn't try triple slash on it. I tried Braver, but I made sure that I positioned myself like right in the middle of the two, because if you if you go in the middle and you use Braver, it actually gets rid of both of the 1500 point boxes, and I'm like, sweet, so you're getting two instead of just killing one of them, right? But I really enjoyed that. I just want to add as well, I don't know if you were disappointed, but I was kind of disappointed that the pinball machines in the Seventh Heaven weren't actually games.
Same.
And they were just props, and I was thinking like, oh guys, we're going to get pinball, which would have been so sick. It would have been
awesome.
So cool.
Yeah.
Even if they just put it, even just like, hear me out, okay? Even if they put like a arcade game, like an arcade joystick game thing in there, and it was
I
like,
see. Yeah.
and you can go up to it, and it was like the original G bike from the original Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah, that would have been awesome.
Like retro graphics, and you're just replaying that minigame, but inside of this arcade cabinet that's in the
Yeah.
remake.
I
Something
was
like
actually
that.
waiting for this in
And you could
Walmart.
choose, yeah, and you could choose maybe which minigame you want to play from the original, even. Like maybe
Yeah.
they've got like skiing, and you could just choose it from, or unlock them after you get a certain. Come on. What is
Yeah.
happening? What is happening? The data that it would cost you to add that in is not that much, man. Like
No,
those
no.
games are megabits, not even like
Yeah.
when we're thinking about data. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And also,
Yeah, of course.
I'm also disappointed that you could not take the elevator down into their secret hideout. And I know
Yeah,
that we talked
same,
about this
same.
before, and you were like, well, you know, they explain it because he's not accepted by the group. It's like, I don't care. I don't care. At least, okay, you're going down to have a conversation, but maybe I can get on it, and I'm like, oh, I saw the little button that they pressed. I go down there, and when I go down there, maybe there's a chest or some kind of item or something.
Yeah,
and
sure.
they're like, what are you doing down here? You know, like it's buried or something, and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh god, okay, and then you go back up. Like, why not?
That would have been awesome. Yeah.
Why not?
Maybe they even planned that, but it was such a low priority that they had to cut it out probably. Because they also
Well,
said
they would have
that
had to build a basement, though. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
probably didn't want to have, because everything is above land, except when you're going into the sewers and stuff underneath. But maybe they just didn't want to create the spatial part of having something in the basement. I don't know how it works, like, you know, coding and stuff like that. But I'm
it
sure
shouldn't be that much of a problem anyway.
okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's because they run out of time and didn't have the capacity to do this too. Probably because this was also
They've already got.
I'd say a big part of the original too.
They've
at least
already got an elevator mechanic, though.
Yeah,
They've already
a
got
technical problem.
assets where it's like they've got like these metal looking doors, and they've got the metal like walls and stuff, or cement walls. They've already got assets, man. Like, could have just done it. I honestly think that it was an oversight, and I think that they should have done it because it was in the original in this part. And I know it's not the original, I know that, but that was memorable for me. Because you do go down there, like, because you can go down there, because they do go down first, and then you're like, oh, and then you go down there. Like, why not? And then maybe there's a chest, or maybe there's something just to give you a reward for, you know, exploring, and also kind of going back to the original, like, just being like, haha, like, we remember that this was there and it's not there. And I get their explanation. No, okay, Cloud isn't like accepted into the group yet, and because he's a merc and blah blah blah. Like, I get all that, and they did a good explanation of the reason why. Like, I understand, that's fine, but I think they could have still added it as like an Easter egg. And if you're listening, Square Enix, arcade cabinet with all the old minigames from the original. Hello. Come
in
on.
the gold saucer, please.
In the gold saucer. Or if you're still going to have the same environment, if we're going back to Midgar at the end of part 3 or whatever, hello, put it in there. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that would be so sick.
Even
So
Uncharted had like Crash Bandicoot in that game. What are you doing? Anyway.
Yeah. I do have an idea, though, why they didn't let you down into Avalanche's hideout or HQ. The thing is, the game makes a point in that certain events kind of transpire similarly, but different. And if they deviate too differently, the whispers show up. But there's kind of a middle thing, and then you notice that things start to transpire differently, and certain things are different, certain discussions or certain dialogues are different, even if they're actually practically exactly the same as in the original. Some parts are different, and that should give you a clue as to what the hell is going on in this game.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
probably also one of those that they don't allow Cloud down there because it's not meant in this remake to actually show you, no, it's different. It is we make a point about it being different. Also, I'm not quite sure exactly in which scene it was, but there was a scene in the Seventh Heaven when you saw like just above the camera was in the corner just above the dartboard, and you saw everyone from above, and one of the whispers just flew by there. This could also be maybe connected to this because Cloud was meant to go down there, but he wasn't, and they were just looking there and looming over there and just being there in case something too egregious happened. Maybe something like that. I don't know.
Okay. I didn't
this is
recognize that. I didn't see that. I'm playing through it
okay.
again, so
Yeah, you need to. I can't remember where exactly it is. I think maybe it's already in chapter 4. No, I
yeah.
think it's still in chapter 3. I need to check my footage, but I know there's a short scene when the camera is above everyone else. Jesse's in there, Barrett's in there.
Yeah.
And then a whisper flies by. Maybe it's even there to foreshadow something is going to happen with Jesse later, and it does because at the end of chapter 4, the whispers show up and wreak havoc, and Jesse hurts her leg and stuff like that. So yeah,
if they're there to preserve like the original story of the original game, then like if I went down there on my original playthrough of the original, then they should have just allowed that.
Theoretically, but as I understand it, they only need the overall arc, the overall chain of events to stay the same. Several smaller events between or deviations aren't really that important if the next big event still happens the same. That's why there's so much difference, and they didn't intervene there. So that's my theory about what's going on there in terms of changes, or at least one part of the foundation of the big theory, I should say.
Yeah, I just don't think that though would have had that big of a. I think they could have done it. I just think that they could have.
Sure,
done
they
it,
could have.
They
just
didn't.
They
like it just.
No.
I mean, that room's so small down there. It's just a little tiny. Like it's. Do you know what I mean? Like for them to just make that and put it there, but you can also play the pinball game as well. Like it would have been a game that you could play, or maybe you play it and then unlock a button and then you press it and you can go down there. I don't know. Anyway, it would have been really cool, but
yeah,
anyway.
Sure.
So we are moving on to our battle section here. So I thought the battle system was incredible. I thought that it was probably the best part of the game for me. Like every time the game sets you up for a battle, it's really exciting. Every time it kind of just lets you loose and you're like, okay, and then you can finally get down and just really play with the system. I loved it. It really does push you to use each character because they all have different play styles and they all have different abilities that have their own importance in battle. So like for example, Tifa, she's battling, she's punching, and she's really putting up like the pressure bar and the stagger system because she really is good at dishing out damage really quickly and increasing the stagger bar so that it like goes down slower. Basically, that's the whole point, right?
I think it's just the damage. The damage is just higher because the percentage increases, which is the damage modifier. I think the stagger bar itself, is it the damage? Speed is.
I thought that it was like in 13. I thought it was like 13 because in 13, what you do is you stagger it, but it has a stagger bar, and then you just continuously use these special abilities, and it actually makes the stagger bar go down slower the higher the percentage. I thought it was the same thing.
It's not tied to the percentage, but
and the highest was 300. Anyway, I just assumed that that's what I was actually doing when I was playing the game. I didn't read any of the menus. I don't even think it even explains that. Does it explain that? I think you
does
have to find
kind
it in a
of.
menu, though. I think you have to go to
Yeah,
options and then you go to gameplay or
it's
something,
either
and it
that,
actually explains it.
but it also explains it in the description of some of the abilities of Tifa. It says it increases stagger bar damage or stagger percentage or something like that.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah,
that's interesting. So I was wrong, I guess, because I didn't know and I didn't read it, but I thought that it was doing that. But anyway, she's amazing
yeah,
in battle,
she is. Yeah,
and they all have their own unique abilities that make them amazing and makes you want to change to them in battle. It makes it fun to
yep.
change to them and use their different abilities that they have, like depending on the situation. Like that's awesome. Like anything like that for me is just like the icing on the cake, right? Because this is what we wanted. I don't know about anybody else, but this is what I wanted. Like I wanted this in 15. I wanted to be able to use each one like character in battle, and then they added that after because people complained about it, but like that wasn't the real thing. Like this is what we're getting. You can switch to any character in battle. They each have their own ATB bars. They have their own abilities. You can choose what you want to do, if you want to spend it for a special ability or if you want to spend it using magic or spell, use an item, whatever. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. And the customization for the weapons and the weapon upgrade system I really appreciated as well, because in the original, this is where I think there were flaws in the system where you would get, like, obviously you started with the Buster Sword, you can't upgrade it. It like doesn't have 8 materia
Nope.
slots in it, you know? So after a while, it's like you don't even use it. You don't even use it. So they did a really great job. So they updated each weapon so that each one has its own bonuses. And yes, they
Mm.
have their own abilities that, yes, you all get 100% proficiency so that you can use those in any weapon equipped. Doesn't matter. But just to be able to add, okay, so for example, like Mithril Saber obviously has higher attack damage if you want to go with like kind of a mage build with Cloud where you're going to
Yeah,
use more magic than physical attack. Did you have that
exactly. Yeah.
option? You can max out the magic magic attack plus 14. Like you can choose those right away if you want with your
Mhm.
AP instead of if it's, I don't even know if it's, I think it's SP. I don't even think it's AP for your weapons. I forget what it is.
As SP, you gain it by leveling up
Yeah, I
or
said
by
AP, but
certain
AP is
tomes.
for
Yep.
materia. But
Yep. Yep.
anyway, but I just loved it. I loved that. People, I've read things online that said that the weapon upgrade system was just pointless and like all these menus. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Each character only has 6 weapons. It's not
Mhm.
like you have an inventory that's overloaded with weapons and you don't know which one to pick and there's so much text to read through for each weapon and blah, blah, blah. Like,
Nah.
I liked it. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was amazing. And then you can pick and choose which weapon better suits the enemy. But the thing is like you go into a battle, you don't know what that enemy is
Nope.
weak to until you use assess materia, and then your current build is probably how many times, okay, I don't know about you, but how many times was I in battle and I didn't get to go to the menu before the battle happened
Mhm.
and I was using fire elemental materia on my weapon, but they were
Resistant.
resistant
Yeah.
to fire, and it was like I just continuously doing reduced damage, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and this is something that Easy Allies were talking about on the video too. When I watched the Max Dude video with Easy Allies, and they said they must have some kind of a system where you can go to the menu before, and they do only in certain cutscenes where you see a little
Mhm.
tiny square icon in the left bottom corner
Yep.
as a cutscene. You press menu and you hold it. That means the menu it'll show you the game menu, so you can make adjustments to your builds before you battle. But not every cutscene has that, and not every single battle has that. You just have to make sure that you do it before. But there were some times when I was like, oh god, like I just want to click restart from last battle or something so I could
Yeah,
just
I did that a
change
few
my
times.
build. I didn't. I just said screw it, and I just I just attacked with reduced damage. But I made sure
Yeah.
that I was using spells that they were weak to. So if they were weak to electric but resistant to fire, okay, whatever. I'm attacking with less attack damage, but the attack damage I was doing just from regular attack moves was so low anyway. I didn't really care. It was just about like
Mm.
gaining the ATB bars, but it was kind of annoying to me to see reduced,
Definitely, yeah.
popping up instead of weakness. And that's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Sorry, and a few other things. Red 13 is my bae. Red 13, Nanaki, he doesn't tell his real name.
Yep.
But that'll come later, and it's going to be so paid off when we get that part. But anyway, oh my god, soft spot, like so good, and actually
it's perfect,
useful in battle. But it sucks that you can't control him. But
yeah,
apparently there's some kind of bug or some kind of like workaround, so you can actually, I don't know if it's real or not. You can,
I think it's save edit or something like that.
You can break the game so that you can use them or something. But super cool. Loved that character and his attacks too, because he actually ends up staggering most of the enemies that he attacks, even though it takes a long time for him to use his special ability that he has. Like, he does regular attacks, but then he does this one where he actually like goes around them in a circle. I forget what the name of it is when it comes up, but multiple times I was actually fighting and he did end up using it, and it's like instant staggers them.
Okay, interesting. I didn't really see that because I was so preoccupied with my other 3 characters. Didn't really see what he was doing.
I forget what the name of it is, but it's like an instant stagger. But I guess that's just so to help you, to be more helpful in battle, because you can't use him. Like when we play him maybe in the party later, it's not going to be that way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
of
it's
course
just
not,
because they're trying to make him more useful. I loved every time that you would use him to like traverse and press the little lever down too, that he would be like, you'd send him across. And he'd look.
His animation is awesome.
Yeah, it's so good. And then he kind of stands and he like looks around, and then he runs back and he's like, it doesn't appear to be a lever over there. And I was like, I'm so sorry for sending you over there for nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, one time I saw there was a chest on the other side, but no lever. I thought, well, okay, Red, go over there and...
that would have been cool if he could go and
get
the
chest,
for you.
But no, there's no lever over there. But it's a chest, get into chest, please.
That would have been really cool.
Oh boy, yeah.
Those dumb whack-a-mole things. Come on. Like, so annoying. It wasn't even a mini game. They could have made this a mini game, but it was a battle.
Yeah, those killed me the first time hard. I didn't stand any chance the first time.
Same here. I had to change my loadout. Like, I changed my so I think that I put like elemental materia on my with lightning on my armor, so that I was resistant to electric or lightning attacks. And then I don't know if I put a lightning on my weapon, but I'm not sure what I did. I don't think it works that way. I wanted to ask you about that too. Can you put like, if you have 2 elemental materials, can you put like elemental lightning, elemental fire on your weapon, and you have both?
Nope. Doesn't
it only
work.
does one, right?
You even see it in the menu that only the first one is lights up, and the second one just stays normal as if you haven't linked. I swear to God,
I saw a video of somebody playing, and it looked like Cloud's weapon had lightning coming off it and fire on it at the same time. And I was like, I can't remember. It was on Twitter, and I was like, what? Did I?
Maybe it was a hacked save.
Oh, maybe because it didn't work for me. Like, it didn't work. I couldn't.
No, it doesn't work. It's just one. I'm not sure about the armor though. Maybe it works in the armor.
Yeah, I'm not
because
sure.
Because there's one single accessory that has 2 linked slots.
Right. That's true. I don't think I used that one. I forget what my bangle that I have, or I don't know what it's called now, but it has
Superior something and the cog something and another one.
I'm using the cog one where it's there's one linked, and then I think there's 1 single or 2 single.
Exactly.
Something
one
like that.
single.
Yeah, I use that. I didn't even use the other ones that don't give any boost. Like, for example, like one of them had 4 materia slots. I think it was 4 single materia slots, but it doesn't give you any stat boosts or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even bother using those. Yeah. So some of those things too, like especially the armor, I feel like they could have done a better job with that, like making them more useful. Because I had so many bangles and different armor pieces that I didn't even use. I never used bulletproof vest. I never used the wind scarf thing that makes your ATB a little.
Not?
I never used that. No,
Okay. Well, those are accessories, right?
that's what I mean. I never
Because,
used those because I felt
huh.
like I wanted to use supernatural wrist guards, which gives me 10% strength. Like
I see. Okay, okay. Yeah.
some of the stuff I just felt like maybe I'll use it on hard mode because it's the benefits will pay off. But in the normal playthrough, it's like the game I didn't need to use those things anyway.
No, in normal playthrough, it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
But if you have the whirlwind scarf, however it's called, and the maxed out first strike material, you have instant 2 bars full at the start of the battle.
Yeah, I have
That's
first
pretty
strike
cool.
max, and I also have the ATB boost max though too. When you press L1 and
Oh,
L2, I
right,
think I
right,
have
right.
that
Yeah.
maxed. Plus, I have something else maxed where I don't know if this is it or not. I forget. Maybe it's an item anyway. But it's like when you use your ATB commands in quick succession, it actually refills your ATB bar or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's the one is ATB. I forgot the name, but there are two materia. One is when you use, I think, one ability twice in a row. It
Okay.
fills the stagger bar of your allies, I think.
Oh, is
And
it? Okay.
the other one is a skill master when you have to use 3 different abilities in a quick succession. I think it also refills something. I didn't really use those
Yeah,
that much.
I didn't use those either. I did end up using the one that gives you you're using ATB charges fills your limit break bar.
Ah, right, right, yeah.
I used that closer to the end and also on hard, I think. But anyway, so I loved the battle system. My only gripe is aerial combat needs to be better.
Yep, same.
I mean, like as Cloud, like I'm in the sky and I'm attacking them because he jumps up and attacks them, but I can't use like triple slash while flying in the air.
No, it's very limited.
Why not? It would have
I
been
don't know.
awesome if you could do triple slash and let's say there's 3 drakes flying around, you can just you go to one, you go to the other, but like why not? I know that you have to add more
Animations, yeah.
animations and coding and just I understand, but I mean if you went to the point where Cloud can jump and slash, then why not just add that? I can understand if it's not Braver though, because it's the animation where it would be kind of weird, but maybe they can develop it where, yeah, okay, he can use Braver, but it smashes the flying enemy to the ground and then they're stuck there and you
Mm-hmm.
can attack them on the ground before they take flight again or something. Like, anyway, that's the only thing really gripes that I
Yeah,
had.
they need to improve on that, definitely. Yeah. Maybe Cloud could have a specific ability to bring those flyers down, like something where he
Why not
jumps
have
up
the
to them and then whack
materia?
them.
Why not
Or a
have the
materia, yeah.
like reach materia?
Yeah. Or just he slashes his normal combo on the ground, but it shoots like shockwaves against the enemy or something. Like
Isn't there a
the
materia in the original game that allows you to
long range materia. Yeah.
yeah, why not something like that and call it reach so that you can reach
Yeah.
those enemies and therefore now you can attack them flying or like you said it does something where
Yeah, it's just shockwaves or something.
you can use it and it yeah, like a shockwave, it
Hmm.
hits them or maybe it stuns them and they fall to the ground.
Or something
And then
like
you can
that. Yeah,
attack them because they're not flying anymore because they're disabled.
there are options, of course, but that's why there are more games where they can improve on things, and I think it was a good move to bring us a solid game which has a solid foundation. Maybe not everything is
Yes, I
perfect. Maybe not
agree. I
everything
agree.
is.
Yeah. What about the Cerulean Drake? Just wanted to get your thoughts on
Oh,
that
yeah,
because, like, I mean, you jump in and you attack, but if you try to do that, it just uses icy aura or whatever on you, and
yeah,
then you just get hit with blizzard. Like, you can't even attack it really with regular normal attacks because you just get hit and fall down. So I just basically use magic on it.
yeah. Maybe that's what you need to do. I don't know.
But it was difficult
It's
because
weird.
whenever I would jump up to attack them, it would just smash me with like ice. And then you
Mm,
just get disabled and fall to the ground. And Tifa as well. So I was
yeah.
just like, I just used Barrett to shoot. and I use magic. But the thing is that you have to use regular attacks to charge your ATB bar. Like,
Yeah,
how many of those
that's
enemies that
true.
had shields that I couldn't attack because I needed to charge my ATB bar, but I
Yeah.
couldn't attack because you have to get around them, and then,
Mm.
but I couldn't because I honestly, I just ran around. I ran away from them in
Yeah,
circles
same.
until my ATB bar charged, and then I used
Although,
fire.
when you're quick enough, or when you wait until they start to make a move, it just dodge away and go behind them, and just then you can whack them.
Yes.
Or you can also, it doesn't work with all or against all attacks, but just go into punish mode stance and hold R1, and then just counter them, and then they fall down pretty easily. Or use magic attack, and then they stumble and then go in. There are many different things you can do, but sometimes it's, yeah, I don't know. I did make many mistakes in all those battles too. So, and in hindsight, I should have done this, I should have done that. I can do this way, and yeah, it's
I
not
didn't
easy.
I think I might have only have like maybe used that, what is it called, like
Like a counter stance.
yeah, no, I did use that. That's a really good ability, but I
Yeah,
used
that's
that
pretty
later
good.
in the game. But the other one where you said you switched to Punisher mode, what's that called?
Mhm. I'm not sure how it's called, but they switch to Punisher mode and they just effectively block, and it's
Yeah,
more like a wait for
I think
a
I
counter
only ended
attack.
up
Yeah.
doing that one time throughout the whole playthrough by
Okay.
accident. I think that I
Huh.
actually reflected some attack or I parried or something. But isn't there a parry materia
There
even or
is,
something
yeah.
like that too? So like, I didn't feel like this was the kind of game that I had to do that with. Bloodborne, okay, that's different. You
Mm.
really have to watch the enemy tag and then you can reflect it because you press like a button, I forget what they call it, and then you stagger them and you can attack them more because it leaves them open. But this game is more like action. I didn't feel like I needed to.
No, but in certain instances, it makes the battles more fun and easier to maybe block the attacks. I watched Max Dude's playthrough, or finished watching his playthrough yesterday, and against Sephiroth at the end, and he used parry materia, and I think Sephiroth used this Telluric, or however it's called,
Mhm.
slash, or however, and I think he used this parry dodge hybrid thing. You have to press, block with R1, and then press circle, and then Cloud makes kind of a wheel of swords
Yes,
to the
yes.
side and
Yeah.
slashes with the sword. And when you do this while he slashes, it really hit stuns him for a second. So you
Okay.
do actually parry stuff. But you have to know against which attacks
Yeah.
this one is effective.
I used counter stance or whatever it's called on Sephiroth
Yeah,
and Rufus.
I kept forgetting about this one constantly. I don't know why.
And also there's a Tifa one that's kind of similar. I think it's called not First Strike, but it's Force Strike or something where she kind of
Was there?
waits and then she anyway, I used it a lot and it worked really well. But yeah, I need to go back and replay it on when I'm replaying it on hard mode. I'm going to try to try to
Mm,
parry more and actually like block. I did block a lot, but I just didn't block at the moment that somebody was going to
yeah,
hit me. I never
yeah.
tried to really just block when somebody's going to kick me, or I didn't do that. Like I blocked a lot of
Okay.
like bullets and
hmm
other
hmm
things like magic. I didn't really block physical attacks.
And what I really love is a maxed out steadfast block materia.
Oh
Because
yeah,
then
yeah.
when you block, the materia just shoots at the materia. The ATB just shoots up.
Mhm.
It's really, really good, really good. And also you take less damage, I think.
Mhm.
25% of the original damage, or 20%. I can't remember.
Sorry, I'm done talking about battle stuff now. So you can talk about your battle stuff because I talked a lot.
Yeah, I have a lot too, but I think most of it I can skip because we already talked about it. Just a few things. I find it really fluid and tactical. So it just flows, especially when you know what you're doing, and you can't just slash away. It usually doesn't work. Maybe against a few grunts at the beginning, but the further you go into the game, it's not done by just mashing the attack button. Definitely not. Um, there are also new interesting material. We mentioned steadfast block, parry, deadly dodge is also pretty cool, but I kept forgetting to use it, so I didn't use it anymore. And also AP plus or AP, I don't remember its exact name, but that it's a materia instead of a slot. In the original, there were whole weapon slots that were granting you twice or 3 times the materia, the AP gain. Here it's you have to link it to an AP plus materia, of which there's only one.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, oh well. I used it to level up Revive because screw those 5,000 AP. Oh man. Yeah, and we alluded to that before, that each component of this whole battle system has meaning and place. So each weapon has its meaning. Each, well, the items, most of the items I didn't really use, but all the magic spells have meaning. Even the different tiers, they're not just stronger, they also take much longer to charge up. So you have to.
They do.
Yeah, it's like a risk-reward system.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Also, and everything with the stagger system that ties in with how you stagger the enemy, how you build up the stagger bar, or when you build up the stagger bar, when you can pressure the enemy, and all stuff like that, and when to attack, when to block, when to do this, when to do that. Also, timing is also of the essence most of the time.
Yeah.
And I think this is pretty cool that also so many enemies need so many different approaches for, especially those enemies that have certain shields or other weird phases that they cannot be hit or slashed or I don't know. It's just it's I must say it's a real delight and really versatile, or at least diverse. I must say.
Yeah, I agree.
Diverse experience. It's not just go through and hit everyone with your attack, or if one is weak against fire, use fire, and then you're good.
Yeah.
Because in the original you could, yeah, I maybe if you don't grind at all and just run through everything, it might be a little bit different. But if you grind just a little bit, you can get through the game with just slashing everything, exploiting the weaknesses, the elemental weaknesses, heal a little. Show off with the summons, and yeah, that's it, probably. I don't know. It's usually brute forcing your way through is the best way to beat everything. And here, nope. You can't. Especially against Rufus. If you just try to brute force, you're dead.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. And as you said before, the characters feel truly unique and really fun. Each have their own place. They have their own quirks too. You have to know how they each function. I really love playing as Aerith from the distance, with her multiple shots when you keep pressing or hold down the attack button. It's really cool, really well made. It's so much fun. Some people have criticized that characters that are not controlled currently by the player barely gain any ATB and barely contribute to the fight. I'm on two minds of this again, as with so many aspects. For one, I think this is really good that they. It's not like you can't really cheese your way through it by just doing nothing with the one you control right now, because usually you could just run around with your current character and the rest do all the damage. And when you have ATB. Then you can do or you can just, when the other ones also build up the ATB fast, you can just stay away and give them the orders to perform this ability, perform that ability, and this magic, and what have you.
You have to use them, though, actively. You can't just switch to them and wait till it fills. Like, I had the opposite problem a lot of the times when I was playing. I actually used them all in quick succession and gave them commands, but sometimes I would forget. I'm like, oh god, Tifa's got, like, full ATB bar, and I haven't even issued her any commands yet.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I kind of had the opposite problem, where I was so into, like, actually physically attacking and using regular attacks. I'm like, oh, I gotta use a special attack now and do this, like, make sure that I'm being active. You're not gonna do well if you don't use the other characters. And of course, they're not gonna charge ATB as fast when you're not actively using them. That's not the role. You have to be engaged and use them
Yeah,
properly, right? Like,
yeah, same. That's also my argument, because if you don't have to switch to them to effectively charge up the ATB, then exactly you have to, or you can just cheese your way through
yeah,
if you don't. That's something I noticed. There's practically no way to cheese your way through anything. You have to be active. You have to risk getting hit to get the reward of building up your ATB and heal. You can't just stay in the back and heal everything. And also, that's something that bothers me, but it kind of also does make sense, because they want you to read the enemy's patterns. They want you to learn how to have a good timing, because if you start an attack, an ability, using an item, or charging up magic spell at the wrong time, you lose everything.
exactly.
You lose the MP, you lose the
Exactly.
ATB, you lose the item, and that forces you to play good, which some people don't like this.
They don't.
I understand that, but I also understand that it has a purpose. It's not there to punish you. It's there to teach you to play good, and don't cheese your way through as you can with Final Fantasy 15. If you die in 15, you're doing something really wrong. And I did a few times, but usually you can cheese your way through by just stopping the battle, selecting your potion, and give it to them. And while they're healed, everything is still paused, and then you go on with the battle. It's just such an easy way to heal, and there's no punishment at all. Here in the remake, it's, if you don't pay attention, you're screwed. Basically.
Yeah, you can even just change like whip for like the little mini menu where you can actually issue commands without even giving up control to that character. Like you can just issue them commands. If you don't want to do that, I can see how like maybe somebody doesn't want to switch to Tifa and have to punch and do stuff. You don't have to. You can just literally change character.
Oh, sure.
I mean, you can literally change to the character in the little menu and issue commands without actually changing the active character that you're controlling.
Definitely.
So, I mean, there's options there.
The thing is just that the ones you don't control, they don't build up ATB as fast, so you have to wait longer. But it's, again, I think this is the purpose of this system, that otherwise you could just hang out with one character at the one end of the battle area, let the other ones do their stuff, and wait until their ATB is full, and then issue commands, and you don't have to do much. And this would be cheese.
It's really good battle system, though. Like, I think so too. Come on, like
it is.
Aerith
it is.
Has ATB boosting abilities that she can just cast on the ground. All you got to do is stay in the radius of the thing, and it stays for so long.
It does. And also the double cast.
Yeah, the double cast. Have you tried? Awesome. Have you tried Fire Aga or whatever? Double cast? Come on, people. Hello.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Hello. It is so powerful. And I'm just loving it. I'm just like, yes. Even though, like, obviously there was a bunch of times when I was like, I had to stop and be like, well, I'm like, am I going to use this now? Am I going to use this? And it's like the charge up time before it casts your largest magic spell. It takes so long. So sometimes they were charging towards me to attack me, and I'm going to cast like Fire Aga or whatever, right? And I'm just like, oh God, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me.
Exactly. Usually the Aga types are best used when the enemy is staggered or something like that.
Yes, exactly. But sometimes when there were like human or like creatures that were weak to them, I'm like, I'm going to try to stay back, try to cast it, like, just to see, you know what I mean? And then it's just, like, coming towards me to hit me, and I'm like, no, oh my God. I probably shouldn't have done this right now, but man.
Yeah, stuff happens. No, I find it's really, really, really well done. There, as we said, a few gripes. One of those is the aerial battle and the camera for enemies that are higher up. This is... you probably remember the first battle with Barret in Chapter 1. When the sentry rays are further up, and you have to look up, but behind you there's crates and all the other stuff, and the camera just goes crazy.
Yeah,
it's not good in certain battles. But besides that, it's really well done. But there's something that aggravates me, and that is the phase change. When bosses change phases and they first are immune against attacks, and the stagger bar resets. So you work on the stagger bar, you maybe have your limits ready, and then you stagger them, you start your limit break, and the first hit of the limit break or a hit of someone else initiates the second phase, and your complete limit break is wasted, and the stagger bar is wasted, and you start from scratch. Seriously, this is the only thing that I really, really dislike about the battle system. I'm pretty sure there's a different way of handling this. I tried to come up with something, but just let's say if they let the current initiated attacks finish until they're done,
yes,
and retain the stagger bar would work.
Yeah.
But then let's say you're so strong against an enemy that you kind of skip over a phase, then it would kind of feel weird. Let's say you start the Ascension limit break against the Scorpion Sentinel in his first round, and the first attack brings him into the second phase, but then, of course, there's so many more hits, and the last hit is really extremely strong, which from HP point of view would bring him into the last phase. Then he would change to the second phase, immediately change to the third phase, immediately change to the fourth phase, and then the fight would go on. I would be a solution, but I don't know. Maybe it would feel weird.
I agree with that. I think that would be fine. If I've initiated a limit break and the enemy is staggered, it's going to wait until all the damage is taken from that limit break, and then, okay, now it goes into the next phase. I'm okay, though, if it, like, doesn't, let's say the stagger bar was, like, half full, it wasn't all the way gone. I would be fine with it not being staggered after that, but at least take the damage from my whole limit break. And then when it goes into the next phase, it doesn't have full HP. Like, the remainder of the attack damage that I did after it changed phases, maybe in between when I was doing my attack animation for my limit break, is there, so it's down or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, I've had that happen to me, I think, twice.
Several times. Not always with limit breaks, but sometimes it's just weird timing.
Yeah, that happened to me in the first boss battle too, with the Scorpion Sentinel. When he's changing phases, I used limit break, and it only hit him once with the first attack, and then he jumps to the wall and shoots the things above, and then he jumps down again. I was really upset.
Yeah, I bet.
This
is just because it takes so long for you to build up the limit break bar. And to lose that, it's just no. Please don't.
I only used the limit breaks a few times for my throughout my entire playthrough. I didn't use them that often. I never had them that often.
Yeah, same. But
I had Aerith's more because Aerith took a lot of damage a lot of the time because she has low defense, so low physical defense, but she has high magic defense. But
yeah,
that's why she had hers more than the other. I don't even know if I ended up using Tifa's second limit break, maybe once or twice, I think, but that's it. And I used Barrett's. Cloud was first, and then I used Barrett. Well, actually, Aerith was first, then Cloud, then Barrett, then Tifa, I think, was the least amount that I had.
When you think back to the original game, usually you didn't die a lot. Mostly. There were maybe a few bosses that maybe led to a game over, but here it's much more. I think I died 10 times more than in the original, this one. So its difficulty is really, really well balanced. I think it's pretty good. It's not too easy, not too hard, but still very challenging at places. And yeah, there's also something else. Did you notice that some parts or some attacks cannot be blocked, but you don't know until you're hit? Because I thought that some attacks just you couldn't block, but you couldn't tell that they weren't blockable. It's not like in other games where the enemy has a red aura or something, and you know, okay, I can't block that. That's not the case in this game, and this is kind of think a small design flaw.
I think so. Yeah, I think that happened to me a few times. I can't remember where.
Mm,
I think that you can dodge out of the way for those though.
probably, yeah.
Like there was a few where the dogs or like the creatures like jump on you and then you're
Mm,
bound. You can dodge, like you can see when they're gonna use their
yeah,
ability, like the behemoth thing or like the other enemies where it says like throat grab. It
yeah,
shows throat grab above their head, and you know they're gonna come and jump on you and basically bite your throat. So I would just
yeah.
dodge it as much as possible when I ever
Exactly,
saw
yeah.
that up because it's just gonna jump on you and attack you, and you can't block that, right? So
No, I don't think so, yeah. And also, this happened a lot in later battles. Characters get so easily interrupted. Even smaller grunts like those, the red ones, the elite security guards,
yeah,
they can just start an attack, normal attack, hit you or they kick you, and you're completely out of whatever you're doing. You just get interrupted, and it takes like a second to
yeah,
recover. But they don't get hit stunned as fast. You have to just hit them, hit them, hit them, hit them. Maybe the last one of your 5-hit combo actually hit stuns them. It's kind of not on an even playing field in terms of interruption. This started to bother me a little because it's so easy to get interrupted and so hard to interrupt the enemy.
yeah. I agree. They should have something where okay, it's a red border. They're gonna attack with a strong attack. You can't block
But
it, so
that's true, yeah.
dodge. Like get out of the way,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Oh, yeah, we completely glossed over the summons.
Yeah,
There the summons still there. But yeah, I don't think they're too great. They're a nice addition, and I love how we can use their abilities. So they're still useful. They fight alongside. They can interrupt the enemy. They can start pressuring the enemy, um, and end with a huge attack. So they're much more efficient, so to speak, in the remake compared to the original, where they were just a glorified spell attack. But it's not world changing or something, and also they only appear in certain battles, mostly because of the area. If the area is bigger, they can appear. If the area is even bigger, then maybe the bigger ones can appear, because I had Leviathan equipped in one battle, but Cloud didn't even have the summon ability or the summon menu item in his command menu. It was just wasn't there at all. This tells me that in this area, Leviathan cannot be summoned because it's still too small of an area. But Ifrit and Shiva could be summoned there. So this the size of the summon does have an impact if it can be summoned or not. So yeah, I think that's about it. I also plan to talk about a few of the boss battles, but we talked for so long. I think I'll skip this. So
it's
yeah, I
okay.
think that's
Yeah,
I think that's it from my side, from the battle system. And
you said that when the summoner gets KO'd, the summon starts its ultimate attack.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I noticed that because that
mm,
happened a few times for
yeah,
me.
same.
And also when I went through and I was playing and I was ascending, like using the grappling hooks to go up, what chapter
Mm-hmm.
is that, 17 or
15.
16?
15 it
The
is.
whole
Yeah,
like Leviathan, like remember in the trailer it was showed Leviathan?
yeah,
I never even seen that, and also I never used Leviathan at that time, so it was like missing that
same.
whole. I
Yeah.
thought that's when we were gonna get Leviathan as a summon, like, but it wasn't. It didn't end up being anything to do with the story, so I was just like, oh, okay.
No,
But
it's
I
just
agree
fight
with
him in
you.
VR. Yeah.
And also, like, what do you think about the VR headset thing where you just
Oh, right, the
do
VR.
do
Yeah.
that to get the summons? Like, I'm okay with it because the summon materia were just lying throughout the land of the original
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII, so I didn't really care that
Doesn't really
some of
matter.
them
Yeah.
are laying around the world, but some of them are also through
Yeah.
the VR headset, so I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah. I think Chocobo and Moogle is the only one you get in the field. Then
Yeah,
there's Ifrit that Jesse gives you. Then there's
that's true.
Shiva, Leviathan, and Fat Chocobo in the VR, and Bahamut too. But Bahamut it gets only unlocked when you finish all, I think, 19
Yeah, I haven't done
battle
that
intel
yet.
missions. Yeah.
I have to get, yeah, I have to do that. I still don't have
Yeah.
Bahamut.
Yeah. That's the only. I still need to. I have unlocked him, but I still need to fight him first. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think it's pretty cool that you can fight most of the summons, because fighting summons to receive them is a nice,
I
really
like
nice
that.
mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
But I prefer that to be sort of tied to lore story a little bit, like in Final Fantasy
Mm-hmm.
VIII, where you have to fight Ifrit. That
Yeah.
was pretty cool. Also, you fight which ones? Was Ifrit the only one in 8 you fight?
I
The,
forgot.
most of the others you have to draw from enemies, and two Shiva and Quetzalcoatl, or however it's called, it's you can get from your school
Mm-hmm.
terminal at the start of the
Yeah.
game, and yeah, I think that's it.
The original didn't have any lore behind them either,
Nothing.
so
We just found them all over the place at sometimes random places, like Ramu in the waiting area for chocobo races. Doesn't make any sense.
mm-hmm.
Some of them were good because you fight against the Red Dragon and then Bahamut materia appears. That makes kind of sense. And but Genoa Birth dropping Ifrit materia in the ship, I don't know, random too. Priscilla gives you the Shiva materia, makes a little bit of sense, but still random.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't really
I don't
matter.
know. I don't know. I feel like 10
Yeah.
did it the best with the lore
Oh yeah,
behind the summons, because it's actually part of the story where that's
it is. Yeah,
you're on a pilgrimage to obtain the power of the summons and you control them in battle, stuff like that.
yeah.
Like that was better done, but I don't mind that there's no lore because I'm okay with just using them because there wasn't any in the original basically. But 15 tried to give more lore, but 15 like I didn't like the summons. They were just so
Nah, nah.
ridiculous. Like I use them more in this game.
It's an instant win in 15, and but only if they decide to appear. So
Yeah, which is like
yeah,
no. I want
it's
to
weird.
choose when I want to use them.
It's like
Yeah.
a fake out when you're low in health. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now here it really makes sense. Of course, they only. I think that usually come, or the bar appears faster when you're in trouble. That's probably
Yes.
mechanic 2. But you still need to spend ATP to summon them, and if you summon them, they are just help. They help with you, especially when you summon, let's say, Ifrit against Shiva. That's of course good because of the elements. It helps a lot. Otherwise, they just also keep the enemies busy, and you can use all those ATB if they're better than your normal ATB abilities or
Mhm.
or magic spells. Because if not, then why summon it in the first
Yeah.
place? But yeah,
I summoned quite a bit. I used it, but not all the time, but as much as I wanted to, basically. But I found that mostly when you staggered an enemy and it was available, after you stagger them the first time, then the summon bar would show up and actually fill pretty fast.
yeah, yeah,
And I did use them a few times where I needed them because I was pretty low on health, and it helped me to kind
yeah,
of use
definitely.
items to distract the enemy, I guess. So I could use items and other
Mm.
stuff to like heal my party and stuff like that. But Fat Chocobo was just so pointless. I'm sorry. Fat Chocobo is so slow. It just does nothing. It doesn't even hit. It uses its abilities. It doesn't even hit anything. Not if it's in a huge battle arena and the enemy is nowhere close to it. It's so
Yeah,
stupid. I was
I
just
used
like,
him once and I didn't really.
yeah, same. I used him once.
He just did his thing, and I kept on fighting. I don't know.
Yeah, and the little Moogles pick him up. They're like, yay! And then he like slams down on the ground, but the enemy was nowhere near him. So it didn't do any damage to the
Oh
enemy.
boy!
His ultimate attack.
And it costs 2 ATP to summon.
But it does give stat bonuses on the loadout when you just equip them. So I like that they
Ah, it
actually
does.
included
Okay,
that as
true,
well.
true.
So that
Yeah,
helps, but still.
yeah.
Anyway, so moving on. So our next section here is music, and I know that we talked about the music a lot in previous episodes as well. So my overall thoughts was I loved, like I already said, I loved the old songs that have been updated. I think they did a great job invoking that feeling
Mhm.
in like specific feelings from the original that you experienced when you went through those areas in the original, and just really hitting that nostalgia note in this game when the
Definitely,
same
yeah.
things play out basically.
Mm.
uh like I said, the new songs, I'm kind of like, I'm not sure how I feel about them yet. I did enjoy them, but I don't think that right now, I don't feel like they're as powerful as the original songs that we heard.
Hmm.
I had them honestly stuck in my head, though, they're gone now. They're gone now. But when I was typing up the notes for this episode, they were still in my head. Like, the songs are stuck in my head. And some of the new ones are stuck in my head, too. Like, the Avalanche theme, stuck in my head. Stuck in my head for weeks. Like, weeks. And I like that one, but it's not my favorite one. So it's like one of the ones that are just stuck in my head that I don't want to be stuck in my head. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that's happened a lot, yeah.
My favorite, I think, is Under the Rotting Pizza. I do love the EDM version of the it's the battle theme, right?
You mean the
in
one
the pull-up
with
minigame, the pull-up minigame.
Yeah, pull up and squats, yeah.
The squat minigame, sorry, and the pull-up minigame. I love that. Obviously Tifa's theme and Air's theme are just
Oh yeah, those
insane.
those different iterations. I really teared up when she gives the flower and you have the option to say yes or no, and then I just kept it there for maybe a minute or so and just enjoyed the music. It's so good. Also, when I think it's when you sit at the bar with Tifa and her and that version of her theme plays, it's so good. I think the one with where you hear the saxophone, I think, or something like that. It's so good.
It was incredible, and I agree with you. With Aerith, when you go to her house and you hear all this, like her theme and everything, and you see her house, and then you're outside and she's like in the garden and she's tending to the flowers and all that. Man, I was just like, I'm gonna cry. It was so good because obviously we know what happens to her.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was so awesome. I liked it. Some of the songs I'm not sure that like I said, I'm like
yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I don't know.
Or when you go near Madam M. But I do like Chocobo Sam's version because it's really really an upbeat country version, which sometimes he whistles too, or not he whistles, but the guy in the track whistles.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. But yeah, this is the standard wall market theme song. When you're stuck there for a long time, it starts to get old.
I agree.
Also, did you notice that it starts exactly the same as A Whole New World from Aladdin? Like when he's flying around on the carpet with Jasmine.
Oh, it's
also.
the same. It's the same pitches. Oh, that's true.
A whole new world.
Stop ripping off Disney songs.
Sorry, we'll get copyright striked. Oh, Square Enix, that's true. Yeah. Also, wasn't there another? I remember. Oh, right. The Fight On version of the jukebox version. Have you noticed it? It sounds almost, in some portions, exactly like the Lamb of God song called.
Oh, really?
I forgot the name again.
Is it a metal version?
Yeah, it is. It is a hard metal version.
I like Lamb that of God.
Version. Why can't I remember this? Last time I wanted to tell someone, I forgot the version too.
I know Lamb of God, and I've seen them live, but I don't know what the name of the song is.
Come on, brain, seriously.
It's all good.
Laid to Rest.
Do you know what's? Yeah,
it's Laid to Rest.
Okay, I'll look it up.
It has so many different riffs or similar riffs and similar parts to Laid to Rest. You should listen to it. It should be somewhere on YouTube. Just Fight On Jukebox Final Fantasy VII Remake and just listen to it, and then listen to Laid to Rest from Lamb of God. That means all of you who are listening, just do it and you'll see what I mean. It's a blatant ripoff. Yeah. Something that I noticed, not from the start, but like later in the game and when reviewing certain scenes, there are so many tracks that play in certain places, and if you really listen to what they contain, which melodies, and why they're playing at that specific spot, they're really spoilery for the story. They explain a lot, like the hidden meanings. It's pretty wild because one, I know this is something that we're probably doing in the next episode when we go through the story and plot and ending speculations and everything, and interpretations and theories. There's this Advent Children arrangement of the Promised Land that plays right after you meet Sephiroth for the first time in Chapter 2. It's called the Promised Land Cycle of Souls in the remake. And it's the same song, just arranged a little bit differently. And if you know where it plays in Advent Children, it plays right after you defeat Sephiroth, and I think Cloud talks to Kadaj, who has reverted back to his normal form, and I think then Aerith comes and pulls him back into the live stream so he can finally let go of his hatred and assemble with the rest of the live stream and go back to the planet. And this plays after you beat Sephiroth, and here it plays after you see Sephiroth first time, indicating that you're in fact having an illusion or hallucination of the Sephiroth that's is actually from Advent Children. So he hijacks your brain, so to speak, and speaks to Cloud. But it's Advent Children version of Sephiroth that speaks to Cloud. That's one indication, because this track plays right after. And also a very similar version of the One-Winged Angel from Advent Children from this track plays in the last battle against him. Okay. Of course, it's different. It has different parts too. But it's mostly this track. Meaning, yes, you're fighting against the Advent Children version of Sephiroth, the one that has been through it all. Also, the theme of the Whispers plays a few times during that battle, also indicating that either he absorbed them, he controls them, he's part of them, whatever like that. The music is so spoilery at times. Those are just a few instances I can remember right from the top of my head. There are more. Like Aerith's theme playing at places, the live stream melody playing at places and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
There's also the Temple of the Ancients that plays too.
Right, at the ending, after Sephiroth goes into Cloud's mindscape again. I think it's his mindscape.
It also really plays during the vision that he has of Sephiroth in the alleyway when he's tricking him and he's showing him Nibelheim that's on fire and he's talking about his mom. It plays then too.
Is that the cry of the planet?
Oh, right. Too? Yeah, sorry. You're right. It's Cry of the Planet.
Yeah, that's the one that plays at the end where Cloud and Sephiroth are in the universe, whatever that is.
Yes,
the edge of creation.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's the one. That's also why people think that his 7 seconds is the 7 seconds it takes Sephiroth to descend and kill Aerith, but it's I don't think it's that.
Somebody said something else, that it was 7 seconds is something else too. I forget what it was, but it made more sense than 7 seconds for him to kill Aerith.
Yeah, it's 7 seconds until the end of the world, because
it's when the meteor hits. It's 7 seconds. Yeah, that's what it was.
Exactly. In the chapter description, it says too.
After you get chapter selection unlocked, it tells you there. Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere it says that. Yeah. I also have theories about that, but we have to do this in the next episode unless we want to be here all night.
Exactly.
So yeah. So my suggestion is I just go through my favorite tracks and least favorite tracks, and then we probably should call it quits for today and do the rest of our planned content for the next one, and then we can really, really dive into all those nitty-gritty of everything. So my favorite tracks, there are a few of them. Of course, Scorpion Sentinel, this is just pure awesomeness. Oh, I forgot to mention also when you're escaping the reactor the first time. I also really like this rendition of the bombing mission, especially with those cutscene versions cut in. Like it changes to a special track that then transitions back into the loopable bombing mission
Yes.
rendition. And then again, in the next, there's a different part for the next cutscene, and then it goes back to the normal one. It's so good. And then the Let the Battles Begin rendition, when you're evading or escaping from the Shinra guards, like both inside and outside of battle, it's just so good. Oh, and there's also one in the playground from the kids in Sector 5.
I love that one. That's the one that I was talking about. That was just the bass line, because it's just
exactly.
Do 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 do
exactly
like that. And then it's like a piano or something going
exactly.
That's my favorite version of that. I love it, but it's really well
good.
done. I loved it.
It's perfect. It's so simplistic when compared to the rest, but it's so good.
Exactly.
So good. And then, probably my most favorite one of all of them is Airbuster. Like all three phases together. This is such a great track.
Okay.
The Airbuster, it's another metal version of Those Who Fight Further. It's
I'm all for really anything that's like metal. I love.
Yeah, same.
Like in
same.
Final Fantasy 13, I think it was 13-2 as well. There was like some metal tracks with actual screaming when you're attacking this. But there was one boss battle, and it's just like
it is.
And I was like, yes.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
Love it.
It's kind of electronic a little bit too. Like it's not just metal; it's also this synthetic instruments in there. It's really nice. Also, Final Fantasy 13 too. That crazy Chocobo track is awesome.
Oh my god! Yeah,
it's awesome. Also, we already talked about Tifa's and Aerith's theme. Then Reno's and Druid's boss fight themes. Those are also so good. Really good. With a Shinra theme sprinkled in, and so good. Also, I think Rufus's theme is also pretty good. Battle theme. But I don't have it in my head right now. And one song that also almost brought me to tears is the hollow instrumental track that plays when you're roaming around Sector 5.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad they didn't have the vocals until the end.
Same. Yeah, it's so good. And also the Valkyrie, like in Chapter 15. This battle theme is also very good. And something that also brought shivers down my spine because it's so good. It's almost perfect replication of the infiltrating the Shinra Tower. When it usually doesn't play, but when you go back into areas that you don't need to be, like if you're ascended the stairs and then go back by elevator, when you exit the elevator, then this track plays, infiltrating the Shinra Tower, and it's not quite the same as in the original, but very close. It has a different rhythm. But it's so good. It's so well done. I just sat there for a minute to listen to it too. It's really nice. And third phase of the Genova battle.
Yes.
Did you catch that?
Yes.
It's almost exactly the same as the original.
It was so good. But
yeah.
Like, I don't know, that boss battle didn't last that long for me.
No, it was pretty fast, pretty quickly over, yeah.
So it was like, I remember hearing the third phase of it and the song, and I was like, oh, it's so good. And then it was like over.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and then it's the fight on track from the jukebox we talked before. It's also really good. And some bad ones, like there were a few ones that really reminded me of Final Fantasy 13, like the whole trilogy.
This is the song that I remember that I told you about. I think it was chapter 1 to 4 spoiler.
9.
Episode 12. I said like it has like violins in it. It's kind of like 13, but I couldn't remember where it was. But
I see. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was Sector 6 Collapsed Expressway, but I don't think you were there in the story yet.
No, I wasn't there yet.
But it sounds exactly like a Final Fantasy 13 like B-side. Like it's like something that they threw away that they
exactly.
that they were like, no, it's not good enough for the game, so they didn't bother to put it in. And then they were like, oh, let's look back. Oh, we didn't use this one, and then they just threw it in. But I like some of it. I like the beginning of it with the little sounds that it makes. It's kind of crystally kind of sounds, but then the rest I didn't like.
Yeah. One of our podcast podcast fans thought it sounded Christmassy.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Joe told me that it sounds Christmassy, and she didn't really like that. So yeah, but this is weird. I sometimes interpret certain musical scores or tracks differently than others. For example, there's the Sunleth Waterscape in Final Fantasy 13, which I thought, this doesn't really sound like a forest theme. This sounds like a theme that should play in a bar or something. I don't know. I think it was Sunlight Waterscape, or maybe it was a different one. But I had this thought, and I played this track to my mother because she has no idea of games and Final Fantasy and anything, just the stuff that I tell her, which is practically nothing. So, and I played this for her and told her, what do you picture when you hear this song, without any context, of course. And he thought, yeah, she said, so yeah, maybe a forest or something. Oh crap! Why? I was wrong again. My intuition was wrong. Yeah, sometimes my how I picture the tracks where they play, it's completely off when compared to others. But that's fine. To each their own.
So I'm just re-listening to it now on YouTube, the Sector 6 Expressway, and I do agree, like, it sounds a little Christmassy, like the crystally kind of sound.
Yeah,
and also with the violins, which are a little bit out of place because it's more 13.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Somebody commented on here, they should have saved this for near the Icicle Inn, and I do agree with that.
Or that, yeah, sure.
Because it fits more with more of like an icy kind of area of a map, like not that area. Like I enjoy the melody of it though. I enjoy the melody, the pitches.
In isolation, yeah.
I don't like the orchestration. I don't like the instruments. Okay. And I don't like the way that it's styled, but I do like the melody line that's written for it. It sounds cool.
Definitely. Yeah, and there are others that kind of sound like Final Fantasy 13. Yes, it's the same composer. That's probably why. But I think that's the second part of the Whispers battle also sounds like a final boss of Final Fantasy 13, 32, or a Lightning Return, something like that. And the Sector 4 tunnels, like the train tunnels. This track that plays there too is also kind of reminds me of a game where lightning is in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which one is it? The this one? Oh, the one in the Sector 4
Due Recompense Due Recompense is the remix of The Oppressed, which is when the bandits show up in Sector 6 in the expressway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like right?
Yeah, exactly. But in a genre that is not really my style.
I liked that.
Yeah. Well, I liked parts of it, but then other parts had weird instruments. No, I don't know.
It would have been cool if they kept the original a little bit more, because I think the original one is still in there, but then it turns into an EDM song.
Yeah, exactly. I think there are 3 versions of that, or 2, at least 2. One that plays when you're roaming around, and one that plays during battles, which always starts from the beginning. I don't know. Usually it's transitions, and this track always starts from the beginning in this expressway. I don't know. Maybe it's a bug. It's weird.
It's true. Yeah. And those are long sections, and it's just like, no. Why didn't you make more versions of them like the rest?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well. Yeah, and then as mentioned before, the hip-hop, the chocobo.
Yes, no. Every time I went through the slums and I walked past that guy, she's like, man, we're getting down. No. I'm like, get away from me. No, I don't want to hear this. You gave me the disc. I chose not to play it. Like, don't force me to hear it again.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
It's also so weird. It sounds so off in certain notes sound off, like
some of the notes too, they changed some of the pitches because they made them changed them from minor to major. Did you notice that? Because the originals were minor keys,
and
they actually changed some of the pitches to make them higher so that they're actually in a major key now, even though they were in a minor key in the original. I don't even know what song I'm talking about, but there's a few times where I know exactly what the pitches are and I'm singing and it's not the same pitches because they changed them because they wanted it to sound more happy. And I was like, no, what are you doing?
I completely forgot about one song that really got to me too. You remember in chapter 13 when you return to Sector 7, there's the rubbles, the slums?
Okay.
Then it's a really solemn theme and sad theme that plays. And it's Tifa's theme, but instead of major, it plays in minor. It's so harrowing. It's really it sends real shivers down my whole body. It's so good. It captures the whole atmosphere perfectly. I need to listen to that again. I forget how it's called, but it's so good. It's really, really good.
I'm just so surprised that they actually put a rendition of One Wing Angel in this game.
Yeah.
It's kind of like...
same.
I was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you putting that in here now?
Yeah, it was a surprise too, but in the end, I noticed why they did it.
I know why, yes, but I agree. But still, I'm like,
it's
It's One Wing Rebirth, right? That's what it's called, One Wing Angel Rebirth or something.
I think so. I forget. I think it's Rebirth. Yeah, could be. Makes sense, of course, when you analyze everything.
Which we are going to talk about on our next episode.
Yeah, because we're 3 hours and 42 minutes of recording time. And
because we talked about a lot of stuff today. But you know what?
There's so much to talk about.
It doesn't matter because it's been so great to talk with you and finally talk about all this stuff because we haven't actually had a chance to talk about any of this. And also, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to talk about.
There is.
The audience wants to hear us talk about all of these things as well. So I think that it's been a long one, but
But I've listened to similar podcasts too, like the Easy Allies podcast with Maximilian Dude. It was also, I think, 3 hours and 38 minutes or something. It's ridiculously long.
All right, guys. So we're going to stop the podcast right now because that took a lot longer than expected. We do have a bunch of other stuff that we will be talking about on our next episode, and that includes the characters in the remake, also what our thoughts and opinions are on the story and events that happened throughout the game, and that includes also the ending of the game, and we'll be going into more about the kind of theories and our predictions of where they will take the story in future additions to the remake. All right, so I just want to say thank you so much for sticking with us to the end. It's been awesome, again, Vyzz, having you here and talking with you about everything about this game that we love. And just want to go ahead and let everybody know that we are going to be continuing the podcast because there's been a lot of people reaching out to us now that the game is out, and they've been asking, are you guys going to end the podcast now that the game's out? And I think that we both actually have enough ideas to continue it on into the future. And we have a lot of topics and a lot of stuff that we want to share with you. And hopefully we'll have more content creators out there on the show. And, also fans of the game and people that are on our Discord podcast server as well. Hopefully, we'll be able to collaborate with as many remake fans and content creators out there. So if you guys have any questions for us or you have any ideas for upcoming topics that you would like us to cover, you can actually email us. It's thereunionpodcast@gmail.com, thereunionpodcast@gmail.com. We do have a Discord server. So the link for a Discord server is actually listed in the description of each episode. So all you have to do is click on the link and it will ask you to join the podcast Discord. And honestly, it's a great community. If you guys are interested about this game and, you love listening to the podcast, it's another great way for you to connect with both Vyzz and I, and also other like-minded people who also love this game and really want to talk about everything about Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's really the best way to do that. And also, we do have a Twitter account. It's @reunion_podcast. Our Facebook is actually @reunion_podcast as well. We do post all of our episodes to YouTube as well, and our YouTube channel is The Reunion Podcast. We do have an Instagram account. It's at The Reunion Podcast. And Vyzz, did you want to drop any of your socials for Cosmo Canyon before we go?
Oh, sure. Yeah, main channel is YouTube, or main platform, which is called Cosmo Canyon Observatory, or my playthrough channel, which is called Cosmo Canyon Universe. Twitter is called @cc_observatory, and our Discord server is you should find it if you search for Cosmo Canyon Observatory, or the link. I'm not sure if you're leaving it in the description too. But you can click on any of my YouTube videos, and the Discord link is down below in the description too. So it's pretty easy to find.
All right, guys, so I would highly recommend that you check out Vyzz's stuff and the Cosmo Canyon Observatory as well. It's incredible content that, you're working on, and you're always constantly posting things about the remake. So if this is your favorite game, honestly, you want to go to Cosmo Canyon Observatory and like and subscribe. And also for us here on the podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also write a review if you feel so inclined. It is the best way to support us here on the podcast. It helps us jump to the top of the search results for Final Fantasy VII Remake podcasts that are out there. And I don't think there's actually that many. So that's the best way to support us. And Vyzz, I think that we can also basically discuss when you want to record our next episode, but hopefully I'm hoping it could be sooner rather than later. So maybe next week or something we can get together and do the rest.
Hopefully,
next week. So all right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Kai. I'm signing off.
Bye, guys. It was a pleasure.
Thanks so much. Take care.